Hey there, Go community. On this week's episode, we're continuing our monthly tradition of answering questions from the community. As usual, most are video game related. In news, Xbox scores big with MLB The Show on Game Pass. We've got the April free games for Xbox and PlayStation, and it looks like the Xbox mini fridge is actually going to happen. New games discussed include Behind Your Eyes, Clap Hands Golf, Fantasian, Unruly Heroes, Another Eden, The Cat Beyond Time and Space, and Cyanide and Happiness, Freakpocalypse. Also, you will hear Zack's review of Disco Elysium on PS4. Boy, that is a lot of games. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 340 of the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, April 5th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me is my good friend, Zack Parker. What's up, Zack?
Well, how do you do?
I'm doing all right, man. Living the dream, surviving the week.
I think living the dream is code for I want to kill myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not that bad, but I am back in full swing at school, and I am straight up students that just don't care and don't want to be there, and their parents don't make them do anything. So it's a little frustrating to be a teacher right now. You have no idea. But Zack, thanks so much for being here, man. Joining us once again, since CB is absent, he has to work again. How dare he go out there and save lives, doing things for the community. But I am very happy to bring back once again as a special guest, Miss Alyssa White. Alyssa, how are you doing?
I'm good. Especially good that I'm back on here because I'm so happy. But the audacity of CB saving lives.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Alyssa, after our last episode, I got more messages, like text messages and Facebook messages saying how much they enjoyed listening to you on the last time you were here. So,
Oh, that's so sweet.
yeah, we enjoyed having you, and you're just really love talking with you. So let's jump right into it and talk about the games that we've been catching up on. Starting with you, Alyssa, have you played anything not new? Any backlog stuff this week?
Not really. Life has just been hectic, so just still chugging away at Persona 5 Strikers.
That's right. You were talking about that last week, and I still haven't even beat the main game. I haven't played more than 3 hours of the main game, but I really liked it. That's another one.
Well, as we'll get into, Scott, you're deathly afraid of games that are long.
I am very afraid of games that are lengthy. I have a problem. I don't know what it is. We'll get there. But Zack, what about you? What you been catching up on?
Well, we beat It Takes Two.
Oh, yes, we did. Alyssa, have you played It Takes Two yet?
I want to. But I haven't yet.
No. You need to play It Takes Two.
Okay.
I mean, this might be my game of the year so far.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I know it's only April, but what a charming game. Zack, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I said it's the first universal must play that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I still think I like Haven more personally.
Hmm.
But that's because I didn't have to deal with you the whole time.
Fair enough. I need to play that game too.
It's great. You know, It Takes Two. It's phenomenal. I think it doesn't stick the landing quite as well as it could have.
Yeah, it wasn't like dissatisfying. It's just I was expecting a little bit more oomph.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, in danger of spoiling anything here. It's just it isn't fully satisfying. Yeah, I didn't find it fully satisfying.
Me either. And you will use the word collaboration a lot more after playing that game.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
You say you do dishes for your spouse, you'll be like, look at that collaboration.
Collaboration.
That's great. Good stuff.
Seriously, Alyssa, you have to play that game. It's so good. What else, Zack?
Oh man, I'm trekking through KOTOR. I've chosen to embrace long games this year.
Have you?
Because I think as the year goes on, we're going to find there's going to be less and less to play.
Think so? Okay. Yeah. There's always something new to play.
I don't know, man. Gotham Knights. It was the ill omen to me. I'm like, it's if this thing's slipping, it's all slipping.
Well, if you're upset about delays, man, I have some bad news for you when we get to news.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm a Jedi now. You would love this, Scott. It takes you 8 hours to get a lightsaber in that game.
Oh, okay.
Is this your first time playing?
No.
Okay, I've never played it, and I really want to.
It's his first time this month.
Okay.
It's pretty phenomenal, Alyssa, and I think it holds up. It kind of feels nice. How overcomplicated every RPG is. It's nice to go back and play something a little less complicated, a little bit more based on traditional D&D rules.
I don't know those. But But I do love Star Wars.
It's all hidden in the background on this one.
But you said you can display it if you want to.
Right, you can display the numbers, yeah. And whenever you equip like a piece of armor or whatever, it'll tell you what dice it's rolling in the background for you.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
That's neat.
But I admire the restraint of, this is a game about being a Jedi, but it takes 8 hours for you to have access to the Force.
That is cool. So what do you use, a blaster up to that point?
Yeah, or you can use vibro blades, which can withstand a lightsaber, of course. I don't know that.
Yeah, okay.
If everybody knows that.
Obviously. I was role playing as a smuggler, so I only use blasters for the first 8 hours. It's the first time I've ever done that, actually.
Really?
So I went hard on the blasters, which I think is really going to bite me in the ass now that I have a melee character all of a sudden.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm going to keep updating you people.
Okay, sounds good. As for me, alluding to what we were talking about at the top of the show, I dove into a game that Zack raves about. And I think was it in your top 20?
It is, yeah. I think it was a number 4, maybe.
Was it 4?
Number 5? It might be number 5.
Oh, wow. So I think that's what triggered me jumping into Final Fantasy IX, the original PlayStation game. I'm playing it on Xbox because you can purchase it there for like $10 or something, but never played it. No, I take it back. I played like the first 20 minutes, and I just never got very far in the game back when I was a kid. I owned it on PlayStation, and I only played it for 20 minutes. Could not tell you why. I think I played it too soon after Final Fantasy VIII, and decided
I think it came too soon after Final Fantasy VIII.
It was really quick. Like I feel like Final Fantasy VIII came a while after Final Fantasy VII.
Well, that was probably the whole world was waiting on bated breath or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But I am enjoying it. It's not a difficult RPG. I'm not struggling a lot. I really like the characters. I really like Vivi, the little mage. I'm interested to see what happens with him. And the main character, whose name is escaping me, that's got like the cat tail.
Zidane.
Do you pronounce it Zidane? I always pronounce it when I read it Zidane.
I always thought it was Zidane as well. But then the Dissidia games have him as a character, and they call him Zidane there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But it's kind of like when Breath of the Wild came out, and we all learned it was Hylian.
We've been saying Hylian our entire lives.
Because that's the correct way you should say it.
Phonetically, how the word is
like
pronounced.
You should say Zidane.
But I'm struggling sticking with the game because I was telling you before we started recording. I looked up the length of this game, and it's like 40 hours. And I don't know what it is about those numbers that just like make me nervous about never finishing that game. I'm getting old, man.
Well, I think you could even just do a thing where it's like every Thursday night I play 2 hours of FF9. You could tackle it over a course of time. It's not an outrageously complicated RPG. Like I would say it's simpler than FF7.
Yeah, so far I haven't really had any difficulties.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it's a breezy RPG or anything like that, but like I'm not stressing out about battles. But again, I'm early on too.
Yeah.
But.
Well, it's Sakaguchi's last Final Fantasy, the creator of Final Fantasy, and it was supposed to be his like lighthearted exit.
Oh, is that what it was?
And a return to form because it was the first medieval one in a while as well.
Right. Did you ever play it, Alyssa?
I never have. I've always heard great things about it, and several of my friends say it's their favorite out of the whole entire series, but I just never have.
See, I just assume that it's Zack's like dark horse pick of the series, like how he says Majora's Mask is the best Zelda of all time. So
it is the best Zelda.
Final Fantasy IX is the best Final Fantasy. I'm just seeing if that theory carries over from Zelda onto Final Fantasy or not. So.
Now, I will say, when I was young, I used to defend Majora's Mask as the best one, and I don't think the world's vindicated me yet, but it does feel like Final Fantasy IX, there have more and more people coming out of the woodworks talking about how it's the best one.
Okay. Is it the story that is really good?
Yeah, I think that cast is the best cast that any Final Fantasy has had, with the exception of one character who I try my absolute darndest to ignore. But all the villains and side characters, like everybody has an arc, which is extraordinarily impressive for a cast of the size you'll be seeing.
Okay. Looking forward to diving into it more.
I don't know if you met the little gesture guys, but like even they have a whole arc.
I haven't got into deep in it, but where they say the same thing, like repeat each other, but they say it a little different. Like one says like Yoda, kind of.
Zorn and Thorn.
Yeah. I came across them in the castle.
Even they get like a whole storyline.
Wow.
It's pretty. It's nutso.
All right.
And for the record, it was number 7 on my list.
Number 7.
Look it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other game I just barely booted up and touched just because I wanted to hear Sissy Jones' voice in a game. I hadn't heard her in a game since that point and click adventure game where you were in hell. I can't remember what that was. Something about After Party. Yeah.
Look at you.
I hadn't heard her voice in the game since that, so I fired up Call of the Sea.
Oh, I really enjoyed that one.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get very far because I could not figure out how to get out of the room. I clicked on everything and I could not figure out how to get out of the room when she's supposed to pack up.
I used YouTube a lot for this game.
I just was so lost. So lost.
Is it like obtuse?
I'm just not good at puzzles, but I mean, if someone's better at puzzles and they're having trouble with it, then
I don't know. I felt like I examined everything in the room that I could, and I was supposed to pack up and leave, and I could not pick up my things and pack up and leave. So there's something that I'm clearly missing. But it was one of those I was like late at night, and I just wanted a palate cleanser, and so I just stuck that on for a minute. So I'll go back to it just because people keep talking about it so highly.
Is it a Game Pass deal?
It is.
Yes.
Okay. The best deal in gaming.
Yeah, by far. We'll get
best
to that.
Best deal in entertainment, I would say.
Well, that's what we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. We got a new trailer, actually the first gameplay trailer for Resident Evil Village. MLB The Show, which was a PlayStation game, is not only coming to Xbox, but it's also coming to Game Pass on day one. So that was news this week. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga will not hit its spring 2021 date, unfortunately. We also got the new games for April, games with gold, as well as PlayStation Plus. We got those freebies announced, and it looks like the Xbox mini fridge might actually happen. So quite a few things to talk about here. Alyssa, what interests you the most out of these stories?
Well, I mean, I'm really sad that Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has been delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I miss playing a Star Wars game. And a Lego game. So
yeah, it's been a while since the last Lego game.
I haven't played one since, was it Marvel Superheroes?
The second one, right?
It's been a long time.
DC Marvel, or not DC Marvel. What was the one that you were playing with where you get to play as the random character in DC Universe? Villains or something?
DC Supervillains?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lego DC Supervillains.
There you go.
Yeah. But apparently, Alyssa hasn't played one since 2015. Is that when
yeah.
Lego Marvel Superheroes came out? Or 2014, maybe? Great game. That's still the best Lego. Still the best Lego game. It was before Disney made everything MCU, so you actually got comic book versions of the characters.
Right.
It's wonderful. The glory days.
And you keep raving about this game. Like, it just sounds like like what we wanted in a Star Wars game for forever.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it on the show before. I don't mean to brag, but I've seen this game in action behind closed doors. And,
ooh.
You know, what is that, 2019, I guess? I would have seen that?
Yeah, it would have been. Because we didn't go to E3 last year. It was the year before.
Oh, man. It's just funny because I remember being in the room and they were like apologizing that they couldn't get out in time for Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Because that would have been the perfect time, right? As the Skywalker Saga wraps up.
It would have, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I think we're going to have to hit like, spring 2020. And here, but this thing is endlessly ambitious. It has a completely redone engine. It actually has a combat system in a Lego game.
Mm.
You can play as any character from any era on the planet, but the planet changes what it looks like depending on which era you go there. The sequel, prequel, or, original trilogy. It's pretty awesome. Like, you go there during the original trilogy, you can go hang out on Jabba's skiff. But if you go there during the prequel trilogy, you can, go down to the pod race area. Like, it's ludicrous what they're doing. And you could just take off the Millennium Falcon on Tatooine, Mos Eisley, go up into space. Oh, there's a Star Destroyer. You can just land in the Star Destroyer hangar bay, and now you can explore a Star Destroyer without any loading.
Like, that's everything I wanted when I was a kid.
Is that not every fan's dream come true, I imagine?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there'll be a Lego Jar Jar Binks in this game.
I hope so.
I can't imagine.
Me too.
I hope he teams up with Mace Windu, because those were some of the best Clone Wars
Yes.
episodes.
Really?
Yeah. Imagine Samuel L. Jackson trying to put up with Jar Jar Binks.
That's what I'm saying.
It's freaking
It's the
hysterical.
most epic duel ever.
It's so great.
I'm intrigued. Zach, what about you? What interests you?
Well, I think the biggest news has to be MLB The Show 21 coming to day one to Game Pass.
Oh my goodness, I was so excited to hear this news.
This is insane. I don't even know how to. I really don't. It means a lot, right? This is big news.
Well, because the show has been exclusive to Sony for so long. Because the MLB license has been wrapped up. There was MLB games on Xbox. It was the 2K baseball series.
Right, but they haven't had
ago.
one since 2013.
Right.
I think it was the last one.
It's been a minute. And so the MLB license has been only on PlayStation for quite a while. And
Though not exclusively. Other developers could have stepped up. It wasn't like football. It was just Sony had their own MLB license.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Like
exclusive like Madden is.
2K just threw in the towel because they couldn't compete.
Right. And 2K wasn't a bad baseball game, though. It was decent. The show was just better.
You're right. I think they had like a contest that you could win money for like doing a Grand Slam tournament in the game.
No, it wasn't a Grand Slam. It was pitching a perfect game.
Yeah. Didn't they cancel it?
Can't remember. It was like $1 million if you could video yourself pitching a perfect game.
It's insane.
I don't know what it is about MLB The Show. I enjoy the games. I've never bought one. I've always rented it, played it with my buddies on a weekend, and then never played it again. Played it again the next year. It's just like an annual thing for me. But I never wanted to pay the $60 for it, and now I don't even have to rent it. It's on my Game Pass, and I can just get it on day one, which is April 20th. It's a little weird, isn't it, that the game is coming out after the season starts? Don't these sports games usually come out well before the season starts?
I'm sure it was weird with the Sony San Diego making a multi-console game for the first time, and
right.
Also there wasn't a guarantee when the baseball season would start.
Yeah, I was gonna say COVID probably played a role in there too, but here's the interesting thing, and I'm not even gonna say it's a funny thing, but holy cow, this just fueled the fanboyisms on both sides.
I saw that on social media.
All of a sudden, all the Xbox fans are like, haha, thumbing their noses at Sony fans, like, we got this now. And then all the Sony fanboys are saying, well, you're just renting your games. Like, we like to own our games over here in PS4 or PS5 world. We like to own our games. You guys just like to rent them.
Here in PlayStation land, we like to pay $70 for something that you're getting for free.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, why can't why can't be like, hey, you get to play this game now too? Said no gamer ever.
Right. Well, I don't understand. Shouldn't you, as the guy who's like, oh man, we like to own our games, shouldn't you be looking at PlayStation and be like, so what's your response to this? What are you going to do for us now?
Right.
Your competitors, including, it's not free, it's included in the $15 a month package or whatever.
Right.
And they're giving this insane value over here. You want us to still pay $70? Like, why would I do that?
Right.
Convince me, the consumer, to stick around.
Yep.
But no, it's immediate defensiveness of, well, you guys are idiots. Then they're turning on their Netflix and watching a movie that they don't own that night.
Right.
True.
That's a really good point. No joke. I went into the first time I saw a tweet pop up about it, I tested my theory from when we did our fanboy episode. I opened up the tweet that was from Xbox or from Major Nelson or whatever, and making this announcement. And sure enough, the first tweet response was, PlayStation's better. Like, it's just without fail. It's like, remember when first used to be a big thing? To be the first one to post. I feel like that's what it is. I just want to be the first one that says Sony's better. I don't know. It just drives me crazy. I don't know.
Also, why are they following Major Nelson if they're so into PlayStation?
Right?
So that way they can poo-poo everything he says, of course.
Gotta be a hater.
I always assume all those people are teenagers and just need to be ignored.
Yeah.
They're getting their frustrated. They're all mad that they didn't get their senior year of high school, and they're all taking it out on Major Nelson. It's all right.
Because he reads every single tweet.
Right. He probably did it first, I'm sure.
He probably did it first, yeah.
But isn't it it's cross-platform anyway, so why the fanboyism?
I don't know, man. That's the thing.
Is it gonna be, do you think it's gonna be weird, Scott, when you boot up this Xbox game and it has the PlayStation Worldwide Studios logo crawl?
It's gonna be very weird. I actually know somebody that is playtesting the game.
Really?
And that was one thing they mentioned, that it was very weird to see that.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, some things I wanted to talk about. This is just silly, I know, but have you seen this news about the Xbox mini fridge?
I have, yeah.
Do you remember when that was a thing, when it first came out? Everyone said, "Oh, the Xbox Series X looks like a refrigerator," or they were saying it looked like all kinds of things. And it was a joke, like, well, there needs to be a mini for a refrigerator, and they made like one refrigerator, full-size refrigerator, but then they decided they were going to make mini ones if Xbox won this like Twitter contest thing where people voted on which was the best Twitter handle. And lo and behold, Xbox won the whole thing, and Aaron Greenberg promised that they would make these mini fridges, so these things might come. I kind of want one.
I have seen the mini fridges they've already made with The Rock for his new energy drink brand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to have an Xbox mini fridge. Doesn't need to be The Rock approved.
Right. I just thought that was just kind of a cute story. But the bigger, more important...
Would you buy one?
It depends on the price. I'm not going to spend $300 on one. You know what I mean? Like,
would you buy it and then not open it?
No, that would definitely get used. I have a mini fridge in my classroom that is not video game themed, but I have these magnets over it that make it look like an old school Game Boy.
That's
I actually
cool.
bought like these like flat magnets, so it's got the B and the A buttons and select and start and all that. I just think the Xbox would be cooler and a little bit more current.
Kids would actually care. They don't know what a Game Boy is.
Game Boy it is at all.
What the heck is this thing?
Yeah. No, the bigger news I think is the Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus freebies. There's a couple of games here I did not know. Games with Gold is getting Vikings Wolves of Midgard for the entire month of April. Also, Truck Racing Championship from April 16th to May 15th. Dark Void, old original Xbox 360 game. Let's see, April 1st to May 15th. And Hardcore Uprising, April 16th to April 30th. And then PlayStation Plus, who just does it for the entire month. We're getting Days Gone, which I mentioned earlier. I am going to have to download and play that finally. Oddworld Soulstorm, which is a new game, day and date. And also Zombie Army 4 Dead War. I don't know. I again, not to bring out fanboys again, but both sides were pretty much saying that PlayStation is pretty much owning when it comes to this, because
they're definitely the clear winner this month.
Yeah,
they definitely are. I mean, Days Gone is such a fun game to play, and it's just I really liked it. And then, as someone who hasn't played an Oddworld game since I was a kid, to be able to play Soulstorm day and date it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to have Zombie Army 4, which there's kind of a zombie theme going on this month with two of the games, but
yeah,
that'd be cool too.
Yeah, Zack, you're excited for Soulstorm as well, aren't you?
Right, yeah. I mean, I didn't play Oddworld New and Tasty because it was just Abe's Odyssey, but now I kind of want to. But I like that world a lot. Stranger's Wrath I was telling you, Scout, when this news dropped, is Stranger's Wrath is a straight classic.
Yeah?
In my opinion. It is one of the best plot twists in gaming, and it's backed up. The gameplay almost entirely shifts what it's about halfway through the game.
Oh, really? I like that. That's cool.
It's pretty wicked cool. But Days Gone, everybody should play that. I think Oddworld might only be the PS5 version that's free.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it is too.
So I'll have something to play on my PS5.
Yeah, so it's
yes,
probably.
You will.
I wonder if it was a case of, the Lorne Lanning in his studio going, Sony's like, hey, we want to give away on PlayStation Plus. You're like, well, how about just a PS5 one? Because we'll actually sell PS4 copies.
Right.
Because PS5 is not as big an install base. But I'm excited Xbox gets Dark Void. That game is cool. Scott and I, we spent a weird amount of time talking about it during It Takes Two.
Yeah, which is funny because I've never played it.
I've never played it either.
It's a neat shooter. It's like 6 hours long.
Oh,
is it
look
in
at
space?
Is it what?
Is it in space like the cover art shows?
No, it's more he's crashed on an alien world
Okay.
and needs to get off. So I guess it kind of starts in space.
It's like a mid-air cover-based shooter, right? Vertical cover-based shooter.
It has vertical cover where you're like using your jetpack to climb giant trees and stuff and using, branches as cover. It's kind of cool. But then it just has free roaming flight sections that are very Crimson Sky-ish.
Oh, no, flight sections.
Oh, don't like flight sections?
I'm terrible. I played Far Cry 5 with my fiance, and he would not let me fly after the first few times playing co-op, because I would always crash into a tree or a lake. So any kind of flight section, I'm going to be crashing the whole time, and I'm going to be like, please just let this be over. This is torture.
Dark Void might not be for you then.
Dang it.
That's definitely... The game is constantly building up to the flight moments.
Sorry, Alyssa.
Nolan North at his most Nolan Northiest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, that's even a bigger selling point. I heard Hardcore Uprising is pretty good, though, too. That's a Contra game, isn't it?
Yeah, I understand. A Contra spinoff of some sort.
Mm-hmm. So, I'll play them.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know what the hell Vikings Wolf of Midgard is.
I don't either. And I don't know who...
I've heard of it, but I don't know. I'm assuming there's Vikings.
Well, yeah. That's probably a good call.
Well, I would hope there'd be Vikings in a game called Vikings.
They're all the rage right now. Cannot get away from Vikings right now.
It's like
zombies of the 2020s.
The year of the Vikings, apparently.
So it would seem. Did you guys catch that big old booty in the Resident Evil 8 trailer?
In the which one?
The Resident Evil 8 trailer.
The booty?
Lady Dimitrescu, yeah. I can't say it.
There was people were drawing fan art of her butt immediately.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't even notice.
It seems it's like the one game where everyone's just allowed to be horny about it.
Yeah, isn't she like 7'2" or something?
No, she's like 9 feet and 6 inches tall.
Oh, wow. Even taller than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
For sure that's the appeal.
I don't know. That trailer looked pretty good, though.
I think the game looks great.
It was running on a PS4 at 60 frames per second. From what I read, I can't tell. But
I don't notice a frame difference unless it is pointed out to me.
It looks like, I love that they're sticking with the first person. It looks creepy.
Well, I love that they're doing both with Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
They're having their cake and eating it too by remaking the old games in third person and then doing the new games in first person.
Yep.
I'm really digging it.
I'm digging it as well. One quick announcement before we move on to the newer games that we've been playing is Patreon. We're going to be doing some updates with Patreon. I'll just fully admit it and own it. We've slacked a little bit on providing you guys some content. So what we're going to do is Zack and I are actually going to sit down and start recording some Patreon content together. We're going to have some what do you call after hours type of stuff where we're going to cut loose a little bit. Where we'll we're not going to hold back on what we say in terms of colorful metaphors and so forth, and just
the whatnots.
Yeah, and just to kind of get into the weeds a little bit. So stay tuned more for that. Our plan is to get at least 4 of them out this month. Maybe not 4 with Zack and I, but 4 episodes for you guys to make up because we have dropped the ball and we want to make sure that we get you guys what we deliver. So please be patient with us while we kind of iron that out. But again, we're going to have lots more content for you and hopefully stuff that you do enjoy. So stay tuned for that. Our Patreon, again, if you'd like to check it out, is patreon.com/thegocast. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zack, what's new on the horizon? You said nothing's coming out till Nier. Is that true?
Right. Nier Replicant. No, there's some good stuff coming.
That's the only important one, though.
Right. Nothing's more important than that. Lost Words Beyond the Page, which I talked about last week, is coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC April 6th. That is a wonderful little platformer that's quite poignant. Very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Oddworld Soulstorm, which we just discussed, coming to PS5, PS4, and PC April 6th. Star Wars Republic Commando, one of the best Star Wars games, getting re-released on the PC and Switch, PS4 and Switch, April 6th. I mistyped on my own format. And then Before Your Eyes, coming to PC April 8th, which I think we're going to hear about shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4, coming to Switch and PC April 9th. That is a massively long JRPG game in a massively long franchise. So Scott, steer clear.
Are you trying to scare Scott?
Yeah. You know what's funny is I've never heard of that series until 4 was announced.
Really?
Yeah, I just somehow have missed that series altogether, and I don't know how.
I really want to play them.
Yeah? From the beginning?
Yeah. I would love to play. The first one is Trails in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was before all of this. But that had over 1 million words of dialogue.
Wow.
Oh.
And that was the first game. So...
And that was before voice acting. That was just all text.
You had to read it all. So it's... But the idea of the game is cool. It's about like a continent that's at war, but each one, like Trails of Sky is in one country, but then Trails of Cold Steel is in another country.
Mm-hmm.
So the villains in one game are the protagonists in another.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
For our franchise. It seems like a pretty cool hook. But boy, they sure do seem verbose.
Yeah.
They like to talk.
They got a lot to say. Because every NPC, every shopkeeper has a character arc and family and personality and schedule and stuff. So like you don't click on a character and they say the same dialogue twice in a town. They have like a home and stuff.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
It sounds awesome, but talk about long games.
Yeah. Man.
Anything's catching your eye?
I really kind of want to play Star Wars Republic Commando again.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but man, that was original Xbox, right?
Yeah, original Xbox absolutely was.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that. I may have to check that one out. Alyssa, what about you?
Well, I've already played Before Your Eyes, but I do want to check out Oddworld.
I probably will check that out too, since it's, PlayStation Plus. But
right, no reason not to.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Republic Commando, definitely where I'll be all over that.
Yeah. Alyssa, you just mentioned that you had been playing Before Your Eyes. I am excited to talk to you about this one because I have never heard of a game that does what this game does. This
It's
entire
so good.
game, if I'm understanding this correctly, is played with your eyes. Is that correct?
Most of it is.
Okay.
So Before Your Eyes, you can play it just with your mouse if you don't want to deal with the eye tracking, but I would highly recommend not doing that because it makes it so much more immersive if you have your webcam on and it's tracking your blinking. But you have to use your mouse to, swivel the character's head around. But other than that, you'll see like an eye in the sky or over an object, and you blink. And you can interact with an object that way, or if it's just you're looking at a memory, a metronome will appear, and if you blink when that metronome appears, it just goes to the next scene. It could be mid-dialogue, mid-action, you just miss it.
So it literally blink and you miss it?
It is, yes.
So are you like playing the game and like trying to keep your eyes peeled?
It's a very short game, it only took me about 75 minutes to complete.
Okay.
But I was trying to keep my eyes open as much as possible, and every time that I would, cut it off during a sentence, I'd be like, no! What were they saying?
That's pretty clever. So what's the story going on here?
You play as Benny, who has just died, and he is on a ferry to the afterlife, and the captain of the ship is called the Ferryman. He's a wolf, I believe, and he wants to take you back through your memories from childhood to adulthood and have you see what your life was, kind of like your life flashing before your eyes. And
I see where they got the name.
Yeah, you're just experiencing Benny's life from when he was little to when he died.
Okay. Did you find it engaging, the story engaging? Keep
I
it going?
really did, yes. And it's so much more layered and multifaceted than how I described it, but you really have to play it because it just has to be played to be seen and believed and to really feel the emotional impact that they want you to feel.
Okay, so tell me about the eye blinking thing. Did it feel gimmicky? Or did it feel
Not at all.
Okay, cool.
It was very accurate. It only messed up on me a couple times, and the game immediately was telling me that I could press the spacebar to recalibrate if I needed to, but other than that, it was very accurate. It felt like I was, experiencing someone's life, and it really made me feel like, life does pass by in the blink of an eye. So it really, really utilized the mechanic well.
That sounds super intriguing. If this is on Mac, I may have to check it out, just because I'm just interested in the concept.
I think you'll love it, Scott.
All right. That is Before Your Eyes. Very aptly titled game. Thanks for checking that one out, Alyssa.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I'm sold. That sounds cool. I like, exploring the medium like that. That's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Zack, you've been finally checking out Disco Elysium on PS4. It's called The Final Cut.
Right.
I talked to Thomas about this on several episodes when it first released on PC. But for those that, I don't know, when I listen to podcasts sometimes and it's a PC game, I often tune out because I just know I'm not going to be able to play it. But now that people can, what is the draw of this game? Why is everybody just raving about it so much?
Wow. Big opener.
It really is.
Well, first of all, the Final Cut, just came to consoles last Tuesday, I think, or maybe the end of the week. Anyway, really recently. And but now it has full voice acting, which I guess the original game lacked.
Mm-hmm.
It had mostly full voice acting, but some wasn't.
Well, it works well. Alyssa, is able to speak better to this. But it is a detective game, but it's like a detective RPG. You pick stats, different stats like your emotionality or your physical prowess, or how smart you are. And it keeps you weirdly way more restricted than I would have expected. You fail a lot of stat checks, and when you fail, your brain lets you know.
What do you mean?
The whole game, your character is constantly having conversations in his head with himself.
Okay,
and it really puts you down.
It does.
When you mess up, it'll call you a loser or a failure, but it'll also help you be like, oh, that guy's lying, and then you can press a character for that. It's interesting, and it just keeps you constantly engaged because your brain is just always firing off on everything that's happening, and it's way more detailed than I would have thought. But the game is also just substantially weird.
It's true.
I would say it's the very first thing I did in the game was try to grab my necktie. I was swinging around on a ceiling fan. My character has very low physical prowess, as low as you can get. So I failed the dice roll. See, I love it. It's dice roll. It's just like D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And I failed the skill check, and my character had a heart attack.
And died?
I died. And so I had to restart.
That happened to me too when I played
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah.
Because I figured it was a detective game. What do I need? I don't need these physical stats. I'm not a skull cracker. And then I woke up from a hungover detective and died of a heart attack.
So is that a risk that you run a lot in this game of simple things killing you?
Where I'm at in the game, I don't know if it changes, but I have 1 HP.
When I played the entire time, I think I got up to 3 HP maximum, and if you mess up 3 times, you're dead.
It's not playing around.
So you start the whole game over, or you just start at the last save point?
I think you just start at the last save, I would assume, but when you're at the start of the game, you don't think to save yet, and you die of a heart attack.
That's what happened with me.
Yeah. Then you gotta redo your stats and everything.
It does not hold your hand. At least it didn't on PC. I don't know if they maybe added... Did they add a tutorial or anything, or did they just... Okay, yeah, it does not hold your hand.
I was shocked at how little information they give you, because your character is an amnesiac as well, and then the detective work is really on you. It doesn't... like LA Noire, right? It was a detective game, but it was pretty linear, and you kind of just were going along with Cole Phelps as he solved the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it really feels like you're solving the case based on your stats playing into everything, and do you have encyclopedic knowledge of history, because that might come into play, or if you are a sensitive character like mine is, you can pick up on a sad look in somebody's eye and you can ask them about that sort of thing. It's really interesting, and it is political, but not in the way that people are constantly wanting about on social media. It's actual political theory is constantly being utilized, the working class versus the the elites kind of thing, but not. It's interesting, right? Because if you think about the developer, or at least I thought about this going in, when they won the Game of the Year award, they thanked, Karl Marx and stuff, right? Like they're pretty open about what their views are.
Wow.
But the game, I was surprised, presents everything pretty equally. Like you understand why the company is using scab labor, right? They actually go into why it makes sense for them. But then you talk to the union people and, you understand why they're on strike. And that's just like a whole side thing going while you're investigating a murder in the town as well.
That sounds interesting. So they're very middle of the road. They're not like, they're doing politics without being preachy.
Yeah, so they're presenting the politics to you factually, and it's up to you how you feel about them.
That sounds super interesting.
It's something I don't think I've ever seen before. And I can see why it struck.
It's a wholly unique game.
Yeah. I wish I could explain the tone of the voice in your head. Like it's this deep voice character who's just constantly talking about everything. Like you click on a door and he has something to say about it. It's just, but the way the actor is reading it and the way he's just kind of casually dismissive of you, the main character, and what a low life loser you are. Yeah, it's a really good tone. You kind of have to. It's almost like you're fighting the demons in your head to get this case solved. Because the voice in your head just wants you to quit or act out or do something ridiculous, and that's apparently been your character's history, is that he's given into those voices, but it's up to you as the player to try to talk yourself out of them.
So is it talking about depression in some degree? Where is that okay. I'm just trying to read it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, depression. The depression is definitely front loaded.
Oh, okay.
About how much easier it'd be if you just give up. Like when you grab that necktie, the necktie starts talking to you about how you should just put it right back up there and get the job finished.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and he's also an alcoholic and a drug addict, so his brain's also always telling him, get another bottle of booze. Get some of those drugs. It'll help you think better.
Yeah, and the game tempts you, right? Because I have a quest right now with it promising huge rewards. All I gotta do is take a drink of booze, though.
And you keep avoiding it?
I'm trying like hell not to.
Yeah.
But you level up very slowly in this game. I think I've been playing probably 5 or 6 hours and haven't leveled up once.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, though. I kind of like it's like a slow burn, but
it's awesome. Yeah, and I think the most money I've put together is $2.60.
Yeah, getting money is hard in this game.
Which sucks because I got a motel room I got to pay for the damages on.
Damages for the necktie?
Because if
you party hard.
Your night of drunken debauchery where you tried to kill yourself, you caused some damage in your room. So you owe them $130, but I've managed to raise $250.
Wow. Like finding it in the street or what?
Yeah, coins in the street or trying to recycle bottles. It's desperate. It's hard out there for a detective.
Wow.
And no one likes you in the game, so...
Right, yeah, nobody... Yeah, the people who called you to investigate don't like you because you've just been there getting drunk the whole time and you got there late anyway. Everybody in town doesn't like you because they all think, you're gonna arrest somebody. You're gonna try to interfere with the way the local unions run the town for ages. It's something. It's very fleshed out.
All right. This sounds like a game perfect for you.
Yeah, I think so.
He just says casually.
I'm digging it. It's well, I dare to say it's my kind of game. Certainly, I wouldn't say it's right up my alley, but it's.
Hey, I didn't say it this time. Right.
It's exceptional. I like cop games, but this one actually makes you feel like a cop. And it's so there's something so compelling about you're facing I'm basically trying to tell the game that no, I am a good cop. I'll show you I'm a good cop.
Mm-hmm.
The game keeps going you're not a good cop though. Come on, man. We both know you're not a good cop. It's fun.
Does it ever get old? Or make you not want to play the game?
No way. It's first game I can think of in ages where how we always talk about how we always think about the other things we could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing this game at 1 a.m. this morning because I got home from work late.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at the clock again until like 5:30. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
It was gnarly. It's that kind of game.
You think I'd like it?
I think you would. Especially with your recent love of D&D.
Okay.
Because it is surprisingly wide in the amount of things it lets you do.
Right.
And it really does. It comes down to your skill checks, which I know you're a big fan of rolling those dice.
I love rolling dice.
You actually see the dice getting rolled, though, in this game.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
And I may have to check it out.
You have it on PlayStation.
I know.
Wink. Yeah.
I know.
Wink,
Nudge.
wink.
Wink, wink.
I just gotta hook it up. I still have not hooked up my PS5.
Wouldn't it be funny that you hook it up to play at isometric RPG? That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Disco Elysium, Final Cut, highest recommendations.
Very cool, man. I'm happy for you. Glad you got to check that one out.
I want to get off this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Start playing.
All right. We'll try, man. We'll try.
But you have been playing golf, Clap Hanz Golf, which I assume... Well, you said it's been distracting you all week.
Dude, it's all I want to play, man. It's all I've been playing. I love golf games. Do you like golf games?
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Sure. Alyssa, do you like golf games?
I don't really care for any kind of sports games.
No. I'm
No.
usually not a big sports game guy, but there's something about golf that I just love.
I like golf games because it removes the guilt I feel when I play real golf.
That too.
I can't. I like the whole golf is super fun, but the whole time I can't think about how we are just wasting land on a game invented by rich people for rich people.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I've golfed exactly once in my entire life, and I was terrible. Although I did par 5.
There you go.
First time golf, and I felt pretty good.
Basically Tiger Woods.
Yeah, right. I actually prefer disc golf, if you believe it.
Oh, sure.
I love disc golf. Anyway, Clap Hanz Golf is the Clap Hanz people that made like Everybody's Golf or Hot Shots Golf. Remember those games?
Yeah, I thought they were owned by PlayStation this whole time.
I thought they were too, which is weird. But this thing dropped on Apple Arcade, and I haven't had an Apple Arcade subscription in a while. And I looked up the game just because people were talking about it on Twitter, and got like a 7-day free trial.
Yeah, I noticed that they re-upped my 7-day trial as well.
Yeah?
They must really want people in this Apple Arcade.
Well, because they've got some good stuff, man. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this thing does not look like a phone game. This looks like a console experience on my phone, man. I mean, there's some slight jagged edges here and there with some of the character models, but you got to really look hard to see. This game looks phenomenal on my phone. It's great. Also, this game makes me feel like touch controls are the way that golf games should have been played all along. Because you know how
big words.
Because you know how golf games are like, tap once to start the swing, tap the second time for your distance, and then tap a third time for accuracy.
Like the Mario is, right? But Tiger Woods is like the analog stick. You pull it back and push it forward.
I've never played the Tiger Woods one, so you'd probably know better than I would on this one. This one works kind of like what you're talking about Tiger Woods, but with just drawing your finger. So it's just the little things that just make sense. Pinch to zoom works when you're looking at the green. Just like you can pinch to zoom, or you can just drag around. Or if you want to switch back and forth from the shooting stance to like the overview of the field, you just double tap the screen. All of a sudden, boom, you're like an overhead screen, and you can just do the view. I think it works like a charm. Putting is not overly difficult. They do it in a way that makes sense, like physically makes sense. But just shooting, like instead of doing the 3 taps, like I said, you start at the top of the screen, you bring it down for how long you want to go, and then you just draw your finger back up to the spot that you started. And for accuracy, it actually tracks how straight of a line you drew with your finger. Because you see afterwards, it'll show you like the line, and then it'll show where you drew the line. So if it's a little off to the right, then it's going to slice a little bit. It's just the way it works is brilliant. It's very addicting, and they do this in most golf games. You play as a golfer, right? You play as your golfer that you're leveling up or whatever. In this one, it's like a tag team sport. So like when the game starts, you're only doing 3-hole courses, at the beginning. I'm up to 6-hole courses now. But instead of choosing my one golfer to play all 3 holes or all 6 holes, I have to choose. I start with like 5 golfers, and I have to choose which of my 5 I want to play each hole. And each golfer has a particular skill. Like one does really well in the rain. One is really good at shooting out of the bunker. One really has good backspin, or whatever. And each individual golfer levels up as you go. So it's kind of a fun thing to round it out to make sure that they all level up. And then once you reach certain ranks, then a boss golfer comes, and if you beat the boss golfer, then that boss is now in your roster. So you're constantly adding new golfers, and you're constantly leveling them up and getting their stats up as you go through. It's addicting, man.
I wouldn't expect it to have also been a party-based RPG.
Right. The last time I had anything like that where you leveled up was there one where your golfers leveled up in Mario Golf? I don't remember. I mean, you're always
level up in Golf Story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's always like your clubs or whatever that are just getting better. This is you actually have like an RPG bar that once it gets up to the top, you level up to level 6, and then your distance goes up 2 yards. Your accuracy goes up by increments of 2. It's a quality golf game, man. And because they make the courses small, like 3 or 6 holes, as far as I am right now, I busted through 6 holes right before we started recording. It took me, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes.
Right.
To go through a course.
So this Apple Arcade game is designed for mobile?
Yes. It's outstanding, man. Clap hands, golf. I cannot recommend it enough. The problem is everybody that I recommend it to has Android only. It's only on Apple. But man, even for $5, if my 7-day subscription runs out, I'm going to keep it going just to keep playing this game alone.
Yeah. Wow.
Not to mention the second one we're going to talk about.
I love how broken the App Store economy is. That you're like $5 for a game is like this huge. Like it's a $5 subscription package. You get infinite games. But if a golf game was $5 on a PS4 or Xbox, we'd be, oh my god, it's such a steal.
Oh right, exactly.
Yeah.
No joke, dude. I would pay $10 for this game. To own it. It's
just interesting that our brains are broken.
Oh, I know.
Then that way,
we've been conditioned.
Yes, they ruin their own market. But that's not the only Apple Arcade game you're playing. This one I'm much more excited about because it took over my area of social media.
Yeah.
Got those JRPG nerds twittering. It's a Fantasian is a Mistwalker, right? From the Sakaguchi himself, Mr. Final Fantasy.
Yes. It's really funny because you see the Final Fantasy flavor throughout this.
It looks flavored that way.
Oh yeah, like the things that bring you back to life are Phoenix Tuft, I think is what it's called, or something or Phoenix Feather or something like that.
It's pretty on the nose, yeah.
Yeah. So all that stuff is there, but much like Clap Hands Golf made golf games feel like they should be played on mobile, Fantasian makes JRPGs feel like they should have been played on mobile all along. That's
the most exciting thing you could have told me.
Well, the number one thing that this game does that I love is that it does not give you a joystick to control your character. You are not, moving your thumb up, down, left, right to move your character. It has what's called a pin system. So you just tap on the screen and it puts a pin there, literally like a little red pin with a big head on the end of it, and your character walks towards that spot. And then obviously you can change it once it's there. Most games that do something like that, they kind of highlight where you're going to run and then it disappears. There's something about that pin staying there that I know where I'm heading to that makes a difference. I don't know.
Interesting. I would have to experience that. But I mean, I feel like you're bearing the lead on this game.
What do you mean bearing the lead?
Because it's gorgeous. It uses dioramas.
Again, it does not look like a phone game. It's just... It looks stunningly gorgeous, and I'm playing it on an iPhone 11, so I couldn't even tell you what kind of screen I have or what resolution or whatever, but it looks stunningly gorgeous.
I'm talking the environments were made with real physical props and then scanned and digitized into the game.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Awesome. It looks stunning. I've never seen anything like it.
And it plays like a traditional JRPG, but everything just works in a way that makes sense with tapping. It's hard to explain. Like normally when you have a JRPG, you have a list of like things to pick from, like attack or magic or defend or whatever. This one, it has that, but it's not like overwhelming. Like you actually have to like like when you pick a magic attack, you only have one armed at a time. So it's not like you cycle through all these different magic attacks. You just fire whichever one is equipped, but it doesn't cost a turn to equip it. I can just go equip it really quick and then change it, which sounds like it would be like an extra step, but it doesn't feel that way in this game. But the thing I really like about it is you tap the button that you either tap attack or you tap magic, and then when you release it, it does that action. Instead of like tap and then tap again to confirm, like most JRPGs are doing, you just press it, and then once you got it, you aim it whichever way you aim it towards the enemy that you want, release it, and it fires.
Oh, I like that, the little aim thing.
Yes, like so when you're doing an attack that has like area of effect, or one of the first magic abilities that you get attacks enemies plus the enemy behind it. But depending on how the enemies are positioned, you may want to angle it towards the upper one or towards the bottom one. So you press the magic attack, kind of swipe which way you want to go, release the button, and then it does the attack. It just feels so much more fluid than constantly tapping like you do in JRPGs. You know what I mean?
I agree what you're saying.
I mean, I love JRPGs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I'm just constantly pressing X and moving up and down the arrows.
It sounds a little more active.
Yes.
Than your traditional turn-based system.
Yeah. It feels like you almost... You're not actually like swiping at the enemies or anything like that, but it kind of makes it feel more like you are. I don't know. The story, I haven't got super deep into the story. Again, I've been distracted by the other Apple Arcade game I've been playing. Typical amnesiac character. Doesn't know where he is. It's like a bit of a sci-fi setting, but let me tell you, man, the bosses are clever. I mean, they're the ones at the beginning are pretty easy, but they're not just. You're not going to get away with just attacking, and you have to do some strategic things, which I appreciate. Really like it. I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. I don't know where the story is headed at all. I'm basically in the first NPC town. And, where you get a shop and all that kind of good stuff like you do in a JRPG. But seriously, if you have our Apple Arcade, this is a no-brainer. Just check it out, just to see what it looks like. Even if you're not a huge JRPG fan, just go look what this game is pushing on your phone, number one. And if you love JRPGs and you don't have Apple Arcade, spend the $5 and try this. Zach, seriously. $5.
I'm sold. I gotta get a new phone, but then
I'm sold too.
It's
I can't believe you didn't. That was the first thing I noticed, was that the backgrounds looked like real things, and they're the high res photos of dioramas that they built in the video game studio.
See, I didn't know that.
It blows my mind that you couldn't tell. That's all, because it stuck out to me immediately.
I'm gonna have to take another look at it. Again. I only dabbled at the first hour and a half or so, but
I think it looks like something truly special. Apparently, this is only the first half of Fantasian. It'll be a second half later on.
Oh, okay. I'm really curious to see how long it is. I know. We just got done talking about the length of this, but I have a hard time believing that an Apple Arcade game is going to be 40 hours.
I know how long it's supposed to be according to Sakaguchi, but I don't know if you want me to tell you.
Yeah,
it might turn you off.
Do you want the scare, Scott, or do you want?
Yeah, give me the scare. What is it?
It's supposed to be around 20 hours.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh.
I feel like for a phone game, like me, I'm like, do I want to be on my phone playing a game for 20 hours?
Yeah, but I can play that at night before I go to bed instead of watching a TV show.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know what I mean?
When you're right.
That's what I'm thinking of playing, not like necessarily like whipping it out at in line at the grocery store or something.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. You get in trouble.
There's a lady president, Zach.
And she's laughing the hardest.
I am.
Excuse me while I whip this out. Anyway. Family-friendly show, guys. Family-friendly show. Did not mean
Kids don't know what's happening.
that. All right, again, that is Fantasian on Apple Arcade. Highly recommend it. I didn't realize you didn't have a phone that would play it, Zach. Otherwise, I was gonna.
I got phone problems. Don't worry about it, Scott. It'll be resolved soon because I'm resolving it mostly because I want to play Fantasian.
There you go. All right, got 3 more quick reviews I want to share with you guys. I sat down with Spencer to talk about a game, as well as Rel, and as also Josh Ershman stopped by to talk about a game. I'm going to play those reviews for you guys right now. It is the giveaway master himself, Spencer Cushing. How you doing, man?
I don't know if I would be the giveaway master, but thank you. What's going on, Scott?
Not much. You're responsible for all our giveaways, doing the drawings and stuff. So I think everyone appreciates seeing your face, hearing your voice, because that means someone's going to get a free game.
Mainly Jordan Derringer High.
Yeah, we got to do something
wins.
about that. He wins every week, it seems.
Well, that's how he puts in money, so he gets what he gets.
Yeah. Well, you're here to talk to us about a game that you've been reviewing for us called Unruly Heroes. This one comes from developer Magic Design Studios and was provided to us by Team Critical Hit. So thanks to those guys for hooking us up. So talk to me about Unruly Heroes, because the stylized art style of it just looks really amazing to me, but I can't really tell what the game is. It looks like a brawler almost.
It typically is. It's actually more, well, it's that, and then it has like kung fu in there as well. So it's like a beat 'em up in a sense. It's very puzzle like as well. So each level is different from the last one, and there's no repetition to it. It's like a lot of it's just puzzle working.
Yeah, it looks like a more stylized version of One Punch Man. Did you ever play that game on mobile?
No, I did not actually. But this game reminds me of Rayman, which,
okay.
Speak of the devil, I had to look it up. The same team that made Rayman Legends helped create this game.
Oh, that's why it felt familiar then.
Yep. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, this reminds me of Rayman, so I had to look it up, and that's what I found.
So describe the puzzle mechanic that you're talking about then.
So there's some levels, like for example, the underworld, where you are given a soul to save, and there are what looks like tracks, and you have to. Your soul is pretty much over your head, and you have to you're hanging by it. Okay. On these tracks. It's weird. And then you have to avoid red tracks, I guess, if they are tracks. But it's the reason why I'm saying it's puzzle-like is because you have to like shoot yourself over pillars of red to get past these. I'm trying to think of what they are. They look like saws, like multiple saws coming after you.
It sounds like the minecart levels in Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it would be similar to that. Yeah, so it's just a side. It comes from one side and it tries to attack you, and you have to get to the end before it hits you. Or there's a fish where you have to jump over a bunch of ledges and then go up to the top and avoid this fish in a swamp area.
So it's got some platforming elements to it, and minecart chases, so to speak. How does the combat work?
The combat is very basic. It is just one button, and you're literally just button mashing constantly to be able to hit. Now, there's obviously moves where you can use the down button to attack downwards at an enemy if you're in the air, or up if you're attacking someone in the air. But it's just one button, and
so Smash Brothers controls.
Yeah, similar to those, and they're very heavy. The controls are very heavy. And what I mean by that is it just seems like it's just very unresponsive in some ways, where if you're hitting the button multiple times, it doesn't respond fast enough.
And you're playing on mobile, right?
Yes. So that could be a factor in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Is this a port of the game, or was this designed for mobile?
This is that's a good question. I think it's a port over.
Okay.
But I really don't know for sure.
Now, is this one you recommend people check out? Because you seem kind of mixed on it so far.
I do. It is, I think it should be more popular. It's very fun to play, visually stunning environments. You get to play 4 different characters at one time. If you're doing co-op, those people that are playing with you can play those other characters instead. But I haven't had the chance to do that. I've done single player, and you have 4 different characters that have different abilities to utilize. And my favorite right now is probably the fat pig that is in the game.
All right.
Because he gets to float. There's floating abilities for some reason. I don't know how a pig floats, but he does.
Hey, when pigs fly.
That's right.
Yeah. Again, that is Unruly Heroes. Spencer, thanks so much for checking that one out, and it sounds really interesting. I will look into it.
Heck yeah, man.
All right, man. You have a good one, all right?
All right, you too.
Bye. Well, long time no see, Rel. How you been, man?
I am good. I am coffeeed up.
Coffeeed up. It is early, I know. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk to us about a game you've been playing called Another Eden, The Cat Beyond Time and Space, which is a long title and an interesting title.
I love it. The subtitle, if I'm wrong, specifically. Go ahead.
Right? Well, I had it written down on my notes originally as just Another Eden, and then you reminded me before we started recording that The Cat Beyond Time and Space, and I immediately got even more intrigued. But this is a port of a mobile game, is that correct?
Yes, it originally came out on mobile in 2017, and it was lauded at the time because it was like the complete JRPG experience on the phone without it being dumbed down or simplified or corners cut, nothing like that. It was a complete experience that you could play through without paying a bunch of money. No stamina gating where,
right.
You can only play a little bit every day and then you got to wait several hours to play more.
I hate that.
None of that.
So tell me about the game, because this is the first I've heard about it. I missed it back in 2017 when it originally launched. So turn-based JRPG. What makes this one so special outside of what you just mentioned, with it being a full-blown JRPG on mobile at the time?
Well, for one thing, it is very pretty. The sprite work is excellent. The environments are bright and colorful. Music's really good. Combat system is a little bare bones in the sense that, it's a turn-based combat system, but there's no individual special abilities. Like, you can't necessarily steal from enemies. There might be certain characters you can that I haven't gotten yet.
Okay.
And I only mention that because this is a gacha game where you can draw new characters. Game. Yeah, where you can use premium currency and you can draw new characters and add them to your party and all that. That part's not that bad, but I'll get to that in a second. The story's really good. It was pretty engaging. It's very similar to Chrono Trigger. Like the subtitle, A Cat Beyond Time and Space, is not just for show. In the first 15 minutes, you have to find your cat, and you find him next to a blue shimmering portal, and you then follow that cat into the portal, as you do. And suddenly you are beyond time and space in the place where they first teach you about the whole gacha mechanic and give you a free character. And then
I wish that our listeners could see the reaction to my face when you mentioned Chrono Trigger, because my eyebrows went straight up and I kind of lit up a little bit, and I was listening, and now you have my attention.
Well, yeah. You very similar to that. Not as complex in terms of the time periods you visit. There's only 3. There's the present day, where of course you're woken up by your female friend who tells you, "Oh, there's a festival celebrating the anniversary of blah 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 blah," just like Chrono Trigger.
I was gonna say that sounds really familiar.
Yeah. And of course, following something into a time portal for little to no reason.
Yeah. So another thing, when I hear Chrono Trigger, I think attacks where you combine attacks. Your magic abilities. Is that present here?
Not ones that I've seen. You do eventually get an ability. Well, it's sort of different. You get something called Another Force, which is a really weird name, but it essentially freezes time for the enemies, and you get to hit them with a whole bunch of attacks for a few seconds. But beyond that, there's not dual techs or anything, or triple techs, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
The battle system is more like each character learns 3-4 different abilities. You can choose to either attack or use one of their abilities, which costs MP. or switch them with people from the back row, and people in the back row don't participate, but they recover MP and HP pretty quickly.
Okay. Yeah. How does the gacha mechanic translate coming from mobile to PC? Is that still there, or is this a game that you purchase and you just play?
It is still present, and also you do not purchase. It is free to play.
Oh, it's free to play. Okay.
Yes, it is free to play on all platforms, so it becomes less a question of should you buy it and more which platform should you play it on and should you play it at all. And the answer to the last question is yes. So the gacha mechanic is pretty, I don't want to say harsh, because you do get characters for free over the course of the story. They naturally join your party, and they're also very good. You can absolutely beat the game with the free-to-play characters. So there's never really a compulsion to spend money. The biggest annoyance so far as the gacha mechanic is the fact that you gain the premium currency that you use for pulls very, very slowly. You can get like, I think it was 20 a day just for logging in, 20 for watching a video when you log in. You know how some games make you watch a video, an ad video for another mobile game, and then they give you like a prize at the end. And then very small amounts like 5, 10, something like that for like defeating X number of enemies. And those are like one-time bonuses. The thing is, I've been saying numbers like 5 and 10 and 20. It takes 1,000 of that premium currency to do a 10 pull, which is what you want to do to begin with. So if you're thinking like, oh, it's going to give you tons of currency, not really.
Yeah.
They kind of starve you.
Currency are we talking? Like, are we talking
I didn't even
20,
look.
$30?
I didn't even look. I never ever recommend whaling in those games. And I wouldn't in this one either, because like I said, the free-to-play characters are perfectly sufficient to beat the game.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you recommend this game, but, just be careful with the, I can't even think of the microtransactions.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. I recommend the game, but not for Steam. When I was partway through the Steam version, I gave up and just downloaded the mobile version and then linked my account. The problem being that they did absolutely nothing for the Steam port. It is still the mobile game, but on Steam, and also slightly worse.
Wow, didn't you mention when we were talking on text that like it still says like tap the screen or something like that?
Yeah. One of the tutorials said tap the screen. They didn't bother changing it. The entire UI is still very mobile. You know, it's got the big oversized buttons for your finger to hit. The part I said about watching videos in order to gain currency, you can't do that on PC. So if you're only playing on PC, you're kind of locked out of getting currency that way. But the most egregious thing, I think, is the fact that there's no controller support and you can't customize your controls. So you're stuck exclusively with WASD to move around and the mouse.
Right.
And that's it. And what's really galling about that is you can use a controller on mobile. You can link a controller to your phone and use it. But on Steam, you can't. Why?
That's kind of crazy. So the 3 or 4 year old version of the game is better than the current Steam version of the game.
Yeah, like I would totally recommend playing it on mobile. Sadly, the Japanese version on Switch never got ported or never got, sent over here to America, so you can't play it on Switch. That would be my recommended platform if you could. I would honestly recommend just playing it on mobile. Give it a try there if you want. The Steam version, like as of now, it does not have these features. They may be added later, but for right now, it's absolutely not a good platform for the game.
All right. So that is Another Eden, The Cat Beyond Time and Space. It comes from developer WFS Incorporated and was provided to you by Stride PR. So shout out to that PR firm for hooking us up with that. And Rel, you're going to have a written review for us on the site here, which should be up in the next day or two. But also, people can check out, I know you're not going to do a video for this game on your YouTube channel, but you do lots of reviews for us and some on your own as well. Where can people check that out?
You can find me at youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for being here. As always, it's a pleasure talking with you.
You too.
Talk to you later. I'm here with my good friend Josh Ershman. Josh, how you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's been a long time since we've had you on to talk about a game. It's been a while since I've seen you. Actually, a little over a year now since I was up in Minneapolis.
Yeah, this is definitely a long time ago. That was a fun time.
It was a good time. For those that don't know Josh or don't recognize his voice, he is one of our contributing writers. And when I went up there for the video game music convention, Josh and his wife were gracious enough to let me crash on their couch. And not only did they let me crash on their couch, they had like an Xbox set up for me, my own Xbox to play and log into my account while I was playing. It was amazing. Anyway, you and your wife are awesome. It was really great to see you. But you were here to talk to us about a game that you have been playing called Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse.
Yeah.
This one comes from developer Serenity Forge and was provided to us by Evolve PR. So thanks to that publisher for providing with a copy. Josh, you're going to have to tell me about this game, though, because I know very little about Cyanide and Happiness other than the occasional like comic strip that I read online or whatever. And some of them have been seriously funny, but I know nothing about this game. So you're going to have to just educate me.
Yeah, Cyanide and Happiness is pretty much a side-scrolling game. You get to select all of your dialogue, which is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I really like about it is all of the characters and everything has a reaction. So if you do something stupid, it'll let you know you're not doing something stupid.
It's kind of like Telltale games where it says like, so-and-so will remember that.
No, it'll be like, that wasn't a good idea. We're just not going to talk about that anymore.
Okay. Very tongue-in-cheek humor, kind of sarcastic.
Oh, and it's got some real dark humor, too.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely not the things you would hear a teacher say to a high schooler.
All right.
There's lots of dick jokes and...
Yeah. No, you say side-scroller. Are you talking platforming?
No, not platforming. Just like a point and click. So you're just arrowing from side to side. You do pick up objects and do quests. They're called chores.
What's the story? Because Freakpocalypse sounds intriguing.
Yeah, you're playing as Coop. He is basically a loser.
Mm-hmm.
He is hated by everyone in the school. Bullies, teachers. No one likes him.
Mm-hmm.
But he just wants to make the world a better place.
Hey, all right. I like it so far.
He does a lot of comic drawing in his spare time.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has that alter ego of wanting to be a superhero.
Sounds familiar.
But a lot of the quests and stuff are like real just basic stuff, getting stuff to make hooch for a hall pass.
Oh, nice. Okay, so kind of standard point and click adventure fare, but the comedy is the front and center selling point of this, sounds like.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of really strange people in this school. I met some guy, he was sniffing industrial markers.
All right.
One of the teachers was making fun of me for talking about some guy's penis when you go into his room and he's into BDSM and he has a mouth gag on when you go back into his classroom.
This is in a high school?
Yes, and his blackboard flips over and there's like whips and chains and
oh my goodness.
A stretch table.
So needless to say, this game is not safe for children.
No, you should definitely not play this around your mother or anything like that.
All right. But do you recommend our listeners to check it out?
Oh, I recommend it. It is absolutely hilarious. If you enjoy that type of humor, it is an absolute great game. It's actually in a trilogy, so gameplay takes about an hour and a half to play to 2 hours.
Yeah, this is episode 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, episode 1, yep.
Okay.
Takes a little bit to get going, but once you get going, kind of figure out what to do.
Right.
I did have to look up a few things because I was like super lost. I'm like, what do I do? And I kept walking around the same place.
And this is on PC only, correct?
Nope, PC and Switch. So if you have a handheld, you can enjoy the humor and laugh all you want while you're...
Well, I do appreciate some good dark humor once in a while, so I may have to check this one out myself, especially since I don't have to worry about... Because you know me, I'm a Mac guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can't play everything on on Steam, so...
No.
But now that I know I can play it on Switch, just might have to check it out. Well, Josh, thanks so much for checking out Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse. It sounds pretty funny, and it was good talking with you as always, man.
Always.
We'll talk to you later, all right?
Yep.
Thanks again to Spencer, Rel, and Josh. Do appreciate you guys reviewing those games. Want to remind everybody that we do have a Facebook group that we'd love you to join if you get a moment. Head over to facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We've got some new members to say hello to over there. Tori Melching made her way over to the Facebook group. So she is over there. Darren
Staple.
Sims. Yeah, she's a staple on Twitter. Darren Sims as well. Also Shane Leake, Tori Hollings, Jay Kawayatek, and that's it. So welcome to the Facebook group. Actually, we got Dustin Ridling's created another account with his name jumbled. But welcome again, Dustin Ridlin. Also, we've got a Discord that is popping. We got that's actually where most of our comments came from this week, was our Discord members. There is a link in the show notes for that, so if you'd like to join the conversations or maybe hook up and play some online games with us, we need to do that again. We got in there Killer Queen Black Knight, man. That was just too much fun last time. Also, stop by Apple Podcasts if you get a chance and drop us a review. Let us know what you think of the show. It helps us get the word out and into more ears of listeners. And lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. We'd love it if you check it out. You can listen to all the episodes there, as well as read all our written content, including Thomas's review of The Life and Suffering of Sir Brant, which he reviewed a couple weeks ago. Also, Josh's review of Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse, which you just heard. And also, Kevin reviewed a game called Kazakh Jack, which is a lumberjack game in Kazakhstan. I'm not making that up. That is actually what the game is. So be sure to check out thegamingoutsider.com. We'd love to hear what you think. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. Once again, it's the first of the month, which means it's that time when we ask you, the best gaming community out there, for questions for us to discuss on the show. The idea is for them to be video game related, but as you'll see, as much as it makes Zack happy, not all of them are. We posted on Facebook, Discord, and Twitter, and these are the questions that you wanted answered. Let's go ahead and start with Facebook. I'm going to direct this one to you, Zack. If you went back in time a couple years and brought with you a game released this year to give to your younger self, do you think the game would install and run properly? And if so, to what extent? Also, the console you had then would be the same one you use today.
I'm not sure I fully understand the question. Can you guys help me out?
I guess I don't either. Once I read the end of it, it would be the same one you use today. Are we talking like a time travel type thing? Like if you bring it back in time, is it?
That's what I'm getting. Like a game that came out this year, and you have the console that you're playing it on right now, but it's in years past.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be like a time travel, going back in time.
But then of course it would install and run properly, right?
If you're using it on the same console, I don't see why it wouldn't, unless it's a thing of, well, this material wasn't a console back when I was younger.
Also, internet connectivity could be different.
That could be a thing too. Oh, it says only a couple years.
True.
Yeah.
Game released this year to give to your younger self. Do you think the game would install and run properly? I mean, we're talking theoretical now because time travel doesn't exist, right?
Right. I mean, this is like a question about like updates. Now that if you brought back Cyberpunk a few years ago, it wouldn't know how to run. Mm-hmm. Or you brought back Final Fantasy 15 before its day one patch, it would be a totally different game.
That's true. I know Sean is a huge Cyberpunk fan, so that may be where this question was going.
But also, if you played Cyberpunk back then, this is totally off topic, would anyone care that Keanu Reeves was in it? Because he just blew up, like, not that long ago with the John Wick movies again.
Yeah, you're right, because I feel like it's really a John Wick 2, I think, was the explosion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people were aware of John Wick, but it wasn't until 2 where it seemed like no one would shut the hell up about Keanu Reeves.
Well, plus, didn't he have like a cameo in some Netflix movie where he was in it for like 45 seconds?
Always Be My Maybe. And they just gifted it all over the place, and it was beautiful.
It was like the headline of their trailer, but then he's in there for 2 minutes. But the movie's actually really great. I think the worst part about Keanu Reeves is that everyone's making me convinced that I don't like him because he's so popular. But actually, he's great.
I love Keanu.
He's great. I can't.
He's one of those actors that, like, him and Tom Hanks, I feel like two of the only actors that, like, don't ever have any, like, they never have any controversy, or I can't think of the word.
I mean, they don't. Yeah, they have no bad press associated with them.
Yeah,
I mean, even when Keanu Reeves finally revealed his like secret girlfriend, everyone was like, "Wow!" And she's like, age appropriate.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
He just seems to do everything right. That guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or famously, of course, when Stephen Colbert asked Keanu, "What do you think happens when we die?" and he said, "I know that the people that love us will miss us."
Aw,
it's the right answer for every religion. He's too good. This guy. He's always got the right thing to say. it's almost annoying.
He's too precious for this world.
Yeah, I don't like him anymore. He's too nice.
And who knew? Like back in the day, like, I'm an FBI agent.
Yeah, I do want to clear it up. He's still not a good actor. I want to just let everybody know. He's not great at that job, but he's having fun, so we're having fun.
I liked him in the John Wick movies, but again, he wasn't... It was more action than acting.
Yeah, he doesn't really say anything.
No. But man, is it entertaining.
Absolutely. Anyway, Sean, you asked a question.
I had to distract everyone with Keanu.
It's easy to do.
He's tremendous. He's Neo. He's the one.
Well fitting. Well, so yeah, Sean, I'm not fully understanding the question.
Sean, I love you. Thank you for that ride that one time. But I don't really understand your question, to be honest with you.
Maybe I should have had him reword it. Oh well. We'll come back to we'll move on. Alyssa, this one's for you. This was on our Facebook group where I had a picture of Lisa Simpson addressing a crowd. And Alan Sheck said this picture prompts the question, what's your favorite game based off of an animated series?
Ooh, this is hard. I'm trying to think. Favorite game based off an animated series?
I mean, my answer is pretty easy.
So TMNT?
No, actually, that was the first one I thought of, but there's a game I like better than TMNT that's based off of an animated series. It's older than TMNT.
I'm blanking right now, so you go ahead.
All right, Zach, do you have one, or do you want me to?
Just kind of go ahead.
Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
On the NES. It's a fantastic game. I love that game. That's one of those games that I could have speedrun back in the day if I tried hard enough.
Now, as a kid, there was a Rugrats game that I played over and over and over again. It was The Search for Reptar, I believe.
Okay.
Is that the name of it? I just played that. I don't even know if I enjoy it now. It's definitely made for kids. It's super easy. But I loved it because I was so into Rugrats. But I'm really blanking about a favorite game based off an animated series.
I mean, that counts.
My 5-year-old self would say that was her favorite.
Yeah. Zach, is yours SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom?
No, although my sister played it a lot on her Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah.
I'm blanking to come up with a lot of answers here.
Really?
Does Dragon Ball Z count? Because I played a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right. Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Budokai 2, I think, was probably the peak.
Okay.
But I mean, there was a time period there in my youth where I was playing any Dragon Ball Z game that came out. They did a Zelda knockoff for Game Boy Advance that was really good. They did a 3D brawler on Xbox that was really bad. So I guess I would say Budokai 2, which is a fighting game, so that's pretty unusual for me.
True.
There's that. But when I was growing up, I didn't watch a lot. I was wondering, even when I was 6 or 7, I was mostly watching sitcoms.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't a huge
You're watching Friends
kid.
While everybody else was watching Gummy Bears?
I was. Only thing my mother and I ever did together was watch Friends every week.
Aww.
My mom made me watch Friends with her too, and as a kid, I hated it because I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
I can't. I could not get enough Friends.
Still can't.
I remember if I jogged home from the bus station, I could get home by 3, and then they would play Friends at 3 and 3:30, and I could catch 2 episodes.
Look at you.
It's a good time, man. But I would watch like Yes Dear, King of Queens, Becker. I would watch any sitcom I could get my hands on. I'm the only person in the world that remembers Becker fondly.
I remember Becker. That was
remember fondly?
I didn't watch it as much as you.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, not as fondly as you. Speaking of sitcoms, I just finished up my, 3rd or 4th time watching How I Met Your Mother today.
Oh, yeah?
That show never gets old to me. I love that show.
I mean, if you'll remember, I recently finished Friends, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already midway to season 4 again.
Jeez.
I can't stop.
Is it like background noise, or are you just actually
I'm actually watching it.
Wow.
Whenever I eat, I'm like, I'll throw in a Friends. But then, if eating might just take a little bit too long and the next episode starts, I'm like, well, I gotta finish this.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't just stop an episode midway through.
That would be absurd. I would lose it.
Did I tell you I fell asleep watching Friends one day, and I turned the TV off, because when I do Netflix or Hulu, I turn the TV off and it just stops playing. Well, I didn't realize it didn't do that with HBO Max, so I went back to bed like the next night, and I was like 3 seasons later.
Oh, weird.
I'm like, oh, I'll just keep watching here. It's not like I haven't seen it, but anyway, you know what? I might change my answer. I said Chippendales. I think DuckTales was better.
Ooh.
DuckTales on the NES, which they did a remastered one, which was fantastic. I played on Xbox 360. Was it 360 or Xbox One?
I've never consumed any piece of DuckTales media in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That game is charming, man. That's
never played the game, never seen the show, none of it.
That's really weird. I wonder if that would hold
Told you
up.
I skipped cartoons.
Yeah. All right, next question. What is the scariest game you've played? This one comes from Brian Lewis. Either of you.
I think well, PT for sure, because I threw my controller across the room when, what's her name? Is her name Lisa? You turn around, she's right there, and she's like in your face. I threw my PS4, was it PS4?
That's PS4, yeah.
Yeah, PS4 controller across the room. I was scared. And after that, every time I was like, I'm not looking back, I'm not looking back, I'm not looking back. Don't want to see her again. That was traumatizing.
All right. That was pretty messed up, like, because you had to turn around and she was right there in your face.
But Outlast, like, as an actual full-fledged game, Outlast had me just on the edge all the time, because I hate having to run and hide, and that guy would always grab me, and he one-hit kills you, and I think it was mostly just because of the anxiety that scared me so much, because I was like, he's gonna get me.
I didn't make it long in Outlast. I don't have patience.
I completed it, but I was like, am I going to have a heart attack before I finish this game?
The ending gets so weird to Outlast.
It is. I haven't played anything. I haven't played the DLC, the second one.
Yeah.
Anything of that nature, because I'm like, I can't do it again.
I did want to play the second one because it was so religious, had so many religious overtones, but I never got around to it. And let's be honest, I never will.
Yeah, probably.
Me too.
There's too many games, man. Zach, what about you? Scariest game you ever played?
I mean, unconventional answer, but I'm going to say Bloodborne.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, the utter terror I felt every time I saw any kind of new enemy, because I had no idea what the hell it was going to do to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How quickly I was going to die. And, you're carrying a sack full of souls on you. It's pretty scary the first time you go through a Souls game. I think this answer would have been whatever the first Souls game I played was, but it was Bloodborne, and I mean, there's just something about you don't know what's around every corner, and it's pretty much the only genre where you're going to die in 1 or 2 hits. It was scary.
I was not expecting that. I mean, the aesthetics I could kind of see, but that's where I thought you were going to go when you said that, but I understand what you're saying now.
It's just the utter horror of, because when you don't know what the enemies do, anything is possible on their end.
Right.
And then, you meet a character with like a huge bulbous brain or whatever. And whenever you go near it, a bar is raising in your screen. For a status effect, you're like, I don't know what the hell that is.
Right.
The game hasn't told me this. I don't know what that status is. There's nothing to tell me that. And then it fills up and your head explodes. You're like, oh, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. But you're freaking out the whole time. Anyway, so
You're determined to get me to play that game, I think.
I can't believe you haven't.
I mean, I have, but I didn't finish it.
It's tremendous.
I could not get that game to click, and I beat 2 bosses.
One of my proudest platinums.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that'd be a difficult platinum.
It's pretty serious. You have to go through the whole side area, like a whole random procedurally generated dungeon mode to get to a hidden boss. It took months. Loved
really?
it.
I will not be doing that.
Who knows? Maybe you'll get into it.
Oh man, could you imagine me getting into Bloodborne and just all of a sudden that's all I want to play is play
It's all you're
Bloodborne?
talking about the show. Bloodborne guy. You're like, yeah, I was watching the lore play on Vadi Vidya. He was telling me everything about the lore of Bloodborne.
Right. This is a difficult question for me to answer because if I say any old game, people will just be like, oh, that's not scary. You say a Resident Evil game, it's not scary. But at the time, it was scary, man. For me, it was scary. The first time I played Resident Evil Remake, do you remember that like additional character that they had you running away from? It was like a girl that was hunched over with her arms clasped together with a piece of wood. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
I don't remember how it made it in the story, but like that freaked me out. My wife used to make fun of me because we were just dating at the time, and I would get up from the couch, turn off my GameCube, and I was checking behind the couch to make sure there were no zombies behind my couch.
Is there a zombie girl back there?
I was freaking out, man. Because I lived alone. That was early 20s. It was first time I lived on my own, and it's weird the first time. I don't know.
Sounds sense. I don't know. I think that counts.
Yeah, it does.
All games count. I remember when I was a kid, I was petrified when you turn into Adult Link in Ocarina of Time, and they had like all those zombies around Hyrule Town.
Oh yeah, those things that they grab onto you with your legs or
and
their
they do
legs.
that very shriek when they see you.
Yeah,
make you freeze in place. Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
Oh, such a good game. Of all the games that need to be remastered, just totally remastered,
I'm confident will happen in our lifetime.
I don't want just like a coat of paint. I want it just rebuilt. I don't know. Anyway. All right, moving on to Discord. Next question comes from Aiden, who we talked with a little bit on Discord when we were playing It Takes Two. When did you get the idea for podcast? Boy, that's a loaded question. I've been podcasting for a decade, man. I tried to talk my buddy Aaron into doing a video game podcast for a long time because he had a little blog website when I used to work with him back in the day called The Hollywood Outsider. Uh-huh. And I was like, we should, you did that with movies. We should do something like that with video games, but make a podcast out of it. And we started a video game podcast, and then he started a movie podcast, and we were on each other's shows. My goal with doing the show is I wanted to make a show that I wanted to listen to, because I used to listen to podcasts myself, and I always liked hearing people's impressions of the games. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Like if I had my way, we'd just talk about the games that everybody's been playing, everybody from the community, but it doesn't work that way. So we kind of do a little bit of both worlds in terms of news, games we've been playing, and some kind of topic. And it's just kind of evolved from there. I don't know. Is there any more to answer to that?
Well, no, I mean, I wanted a podcast as far back as I can remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was a GameSpot. Was it the Hot Spot? Right, with like Jeff Gerstmann back in the day and Ryan Davis. Just ringing any bells?
I don't remember. I didn't hear them until Giant Bomb. So
okay, well, pre Giant Bomb, they did a show called The Hot Spot, which I want to say was video, but you could just listen to the MP3s, and I would do that because even as a kid, you're going to be shocked to hear this, Scott. I wasn't super into music.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my choice. I wanted to listen to talk radio, or then I started learning you could like download MP3s off the internet. I would just download. I feel like I had to be there almost at the birth of podcasts.
Yeah,
listening to podcasts, and ever since then I wanted to do my own shows, and I've had 100 ideas for them. And I think I want to say my first regular podcast was 24 Live Another Podcast from when they revitalized 24.
Nice.
And that was kind of, with our mutual friend Aaron Peterson of the Hollywood Outsider. And the late great Justin McCumber was on there as well.
I do remember that. I think I had an idea of wanting to do it when I was younger too, before I ever knew a podcast was a thing. I had a tape recorder when I was a kid. I'm talking like cassette, with a little red button on it that you hold down to record your voice.
I've heard of a tape recorder, yes.
Okay, just you guys are younger than me, so my brother and I used to play video games and do a little commentary track. You could hear the video game in the background, and we had a little radio show. I had to have been, 12 years old at the time. I remember playing Bad Dudes on the NES, and we would take turns. My brother was terrible.
Great.
But it was fun. It was fun. What about you, Alyssa? What made you want to get into podcasting and talking about video games?
I just like talking to people that are as nerdy as I am.
There you go.
And I just like to be out there.
That's awesome.
I will always appear on any podcast anyone asks me to be on.
All right, so if you want Alyssa on your podcast, be sure to hit her up. That would be awesome. I think I've talked about this on the show too, but the thing that really motivated me to start my own podcast was listening to Jeff Kanata Before he had Weekend Confirmed, before he had the DLC podcast, he had a podcast called One Up Yours. Or I don't think it was his podcast, but he was a guest on it.
I loved One Up.
Wasn't that what's his name? Garnet Lee.
Yes,
Garnet Lee was on that show. It was Garnet Lee and Jeff, and then somebody else. But
was it one of the McElroy brothers?
McElroy? No,
McElroy.
They did Joystick, right? Or was Joystick what they did later?
One of them wrote for One Up because he did a review of Nier where they didn't score it.
Oh, really?
For shame!
He thought they did a whole video about how the fishing minigame was impossible and how he couldn't get past it and he couldn't review the game.
Okay.
That's it. It stuck with you. It stuck with me because that's a lousy excuse not to do your job.
Right.
And B, I took it quite personally.
I can imagine. Well, you didn't tell me there was a fishing minigame in Nier. I think I'm out then.
Oh no!
I hate fishing minigames.
You gotta do it one time for the main storyline to feed your freaking daughter. Or I guess it'll be your sister and Replicant. And if you can't do that, Scott, then you're not even a man.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Jeff was the guy out of all these podcasters out there who I felt like just didn't even like video games anymore. They just crapped on every game and talked about how this game was broken and how this game was terrible and impress me was the attitude I got.
Of
Jeff,
whom,
on the other hand, huh?
Of whom, sorry? Of Garnet Lee, you're saying?
No, just almost any podcaster I listen to. I'm trying to avoid the names of the podcasts or the podcasters. But for me, Jeff was the guy that loved loving things. You could feel the energy in his voice when he talked about it. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be excited about this hobby. I have enough time trying to convince non-gamers that this is a cool hobby. I should not have to convince gamers that this is a cool hobby. You guys make it sound like it's a miserable experience. You know what I mean? And not that we can't be critics. Obviously, we can. You've heard us talk about games that weren't for us. But that's kind of what spawned the whole, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you. You know, some game that may not be your best game, but it may be somebody else's best game. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean there's something wrong with the game. That means it just didn't work for you. That was kind of my mantra. Anyway.
Every game is somebody's favorite.
Right.
Very true.
Except Dead Island, of course. I just had to take a shot at a game I don't like real quick.
I didn't like Dead Island either.
But I do mean it. Every
it was
game,
fun for what it was, but it wasn't like brilliant or anything.
And what a great trailer that game had.
Total lie, but
yeah, got me to buy it. You know what? It worked. They got me to buy a game that I didn't like at all, and would not have liked had I known what it was actually like.
Right. And I think that was the game that said, you know what? I need to see gameplay in my trailer before I purchase.
That's exactly right.
Yep. All right, next question comes from Stefan Rombing. What game to any console did you spend the most time trying to get? And was it more expensive than you planned to budget for it?
You're not
a collector.
Yeah, I wish CB was here. This was obviously a question for him.
Yeah.
I don't super collect video games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm collecting is I'm slowly acquiring every Star Wars game. That's about it. But I haven't gotten to the rare ones yet. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like the rarest game I tracked down was Shadow Hearts, which did take a while because I didn't really do eBay while I was searching for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually did find it. You know, it's like, I paid like $50 for a PS2 game. That was probably 15 years old at the time or whatever. And then the real kicker is I've never played it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's kind of like my story. I just remembered I'd been looking for Haunting Ground, which is a PS2 game.
Oh my word!
And it's super rare. And it was that and Rule of Rose. And I still have not found Rule of Rose for a price I can afford. But I really wanted Haunting Ground, and I found it at Retropalooza, this convention I went to one year, from Scott Squatch, who is on YouTube and has his own show and all this kind of stuff. And I was so excited. Never have played that game, but it's in excellent condition. I paid $50 for it, which was pretty cheap. It was going for, at that time, over $200 usually on eBay. And yeah, never played it, but I'm still proud I have it.
Wait, which game did you get for this price?
Haunting Ground.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said you got Rule of Rose for that price, which would have been
No, I wish.
hilariously insane. Yeah, Haunting Grounds for $50 is a freaking steal, especially after its YouTube explosion.
Oh yeah,
But
I don't know why I never played it. I was just so proud to get it.
I'll never forget the girlfriend at the time. We went to like a downtown GameStop in Chicago when we were like back in my Rockford days.
Mm-hmm.
And we found Rule of Rose on PS2, and she paid it what I thought was insane at the time, like $50 for it. I was like, that's a stupid price to pay for this random PS2 game. And then she played it, and it was awful. And then like sold it, and I'm just like, it's one of those things where you're like, God, if only you had known that YouTube would make this game.
What's it worth now?
Yeah, like $350 probably.
Jeez.
It's insane.
My one that I'm chasing now is a copy of Little Samson on NES, which is dumb because it's just so stupidly priced. I can't find one for under $1,400 right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a substantial amount of money.
And CB has one, and I've played the game, and it's actually a great game.
Good.
Yeah, it's a really great game. We actually beat it.
Too often the rare stuff is actually awful.
Right. That's what you kind of expect, but this one was actually really solid. I've got the second rarest game on NES, which is that Flintstones Dinosaur Peak or whatever, which is probably the one that it's hard to say like the longest time you spent trying to get it, because my whole collection has been like me trying to get it. It's not like any one particular game from my collection. And I had to go through and value it and see what I've got and what it's worth, because it would make my wife very happy if I just sold it, but don't.
Well, that's not what you want to do with it.
I know. I did.
Boys and their toys.
I did stand in line for a Wii, like the original Wii. Like I actually not camped out, but I went there like as soon as the mall opened. I sat on the floor in front of GameStop, watched all the mall walkers walk past me for hours. And this is before I had a smartphone. Just sat there because I wanted to be the first one to get a Wii, and I got one. And now it's like sitting in a classroom somewhere that I gave to a teacher.
Worth it.
Yeah. But it's the only time I've ever done that. All right, next question comes from Jordan Derringer. Hi, since you guys were talking about this sleepover thing, my question has to do with that. Favorite pizza toppings, favorite Doritos flavor, and favorite Mountain Dew flavor. Who would like to start?
Favorite pizza topping, favorite Dorito topping, flavor, and favorite Mountain Dew flavor?
Yep.
I really just love pepperoni and ham on pizza. I do like pineapple.
No.
I know. I just lost points in Scott's eyes.
I love pineapple.
No.
Love it. Who cares what Scott thinks? I'm trying to get him off the show next.
I knew saying pineapple would probably alienate at least one of you.
We had an argument with my students the other day about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. You'd be shocked at how many kids like pineapple on their pizza.
I didn't like it until Sean was like, just try it.
Yeah.
I did. I'm like, oh, it's actually good. I always thought it'd be gross. It's not. Not to me.
I just can't do it. Anyway, Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Doritos, I'd probably say the Flamin' Hot because they're so painful to eat. I won't eat too many of them.
Oh, okay. So it's like a little dietary thing.
Yeah, and then Mountain Dew, the Flamin' Hot Doritos, they're so hot for me that I can't eat more than a few.
No, that's good. Right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Good for you. I eat the whole freaking bag.
Oh, no.
Can't stop.
And then for Mountain Dew, I'm obsessed with Mountain Dew Zero. It's so hard to find here where I live, but I love it.
Zack?
All right. Favorite pizza topping. The best pizza topping is cream cheese.
What?
Cream cheese?
Yeah. And, okay. See, you both have bewildered looks. I didn't have it until I was in Chicago, where it's kind of a semi-regular topping. And here in Kansas City, I feel like everybody does cream cheese topping. It's a complete game changer. It sounds weird, and I promise you, it makes like this creamy, delicious flavor to every bite that has it. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Still got marinara sauce?
Yeah. No, they're just like, so they do. It's like it's a fine cut, almost like little squares of cream cheese. So you'll see it on the pizza.
Okay.
And you'll know when you're getting a cream cheese bite, and it's unbelievable.
All right.
So cream cheese, banana peppers, and pepperoni. That's the perfect pizza.
Scott.
That's
all you can see his face, everyone watching.
Oh, I don't like peppers.
I don't mind green peppers, but anything else on pizza, I'm like, eh.
Banana peppers are not spicy. They're all good.
It's not about spicy. I'm not afraid of spice. I just don't like peppers.
You want to take back the pepperoni? Bacon. Yeah.
Pepperoni and bacon is what I like on my pizza.
Yeah.
It's always a safe choice.
The real answer is I'm not picky about my pizza toppings at all.
Really?
As long as you don't put mushrooms on there, I will eat the pizza.
See, I like mushrooms and sausage.
I don't like mushrooms, black olives, or onions on my pizza.
I don't like mushrooms on anything, just to clarify. In case you ever want to cook me dinner.
I do like, I don't know if you guys have Old Chicago by either of you, but Old Chicago does a pepperoni pizza called Double Deckeroni where they put Tabasco sauce in the marinara.
Oh, nice.
And that's really good. And it's got like double the pepperoni.
Oh, wow.
Cornmeal ground crust. It's good.
There's a place around here that does a marinara and buffalo like mixed together. It's freaking delicious.
Nice. What about Doritos and Mountain Dew?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was distracted talking about pizza. Doritos, the best Doritos are the Dinamitas.
The what?
They're like a little cylinder-shaped Dorito. Like a taquito or a Taki.
Okay, yeah.
It's like Doritos' answer to that.
Oh, okay.
And they have, the eyes and Dynamitas is dynamite sticks. It's very catchy. Anyway, they have those in chili lime. Those are my favorite chips. They have been for a decade or more. They're the most delicious thing that comes in a bag. And I can't stop eating them when I start. The backup is spicy sweet chili. If you're looking for something a little bit more normal, those are delicious. And then Mountain Dew. I mean, the real best Mountain Dew is Baja Blast,
right?
But you can't get that everywhere. So if I had to have a backup, I guess I like Livewire. Do they still do Livewire?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
I don't drink a great deal of Mountain Dew. I remember I loved Pitch Black when that was out, but that was quite short lived.
Is it grape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love grape. But I think if I were reaching for a Mountain Dew, it'd be one of those, the Mountain Dew throwback where they use real sugar. It would probably be what I would grab.
Okay. For me, I already told you pizza, pepperoni and bacon. I'm basic. Nacho cheese, Doritos. That's just
you couldn't.
That's
be more
my
basic.
second choice.
Yeah. I know. Mountain Dew, like you said, Baja Blast is the best. There's something about being in the fountain that just makes that, because you can get that in the bottle, by the way, but it's really hard to find. I thought
it was like limited times.
It was, but then they started putting it in bottles, but not a whole lot. I really liked Code Red for a long time. I used to drink a lot of Code Red Mountain Dew, but I think just no. You know what? Can I say the Kickstarts? That's a Mountain Dew drink, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
The grape Kickstart is like the best tasting Mountain Dew thing ever.
Midnight grape. Delicious. Yes. Love it. Love it to death. So and way lower on sugar than your regular Mountain Dew. Although you cracking this open, have you ever had Mountain Dew Black Label?
Oh yes. Yeah.
I don't think I have.
I love Mountain Dew Black Label.
That's pretty good too.
So it's a dark berry flavor. It comes in an all black can. It looks great.
I will say that I really like the taste of Surge, though. Surge tastes like sleepovers to me.
Never had it.
You've never had a Surge?
No.
Man. I don't think I have.
There was a couple years ago, they started selling Surge on Amazon, and I bought a case of it just because you could never get it, and it tasted exactly like I remember it from when I was a kid. I would go to my best friend Tim's house for sleepovers, and we'd stay up all night drinking Surge and playing Shadows of the Empire. That was good memories. All right. Moving on. Next question. World Reaper. What game made you realize you were a gamer? I feel like this is going to be showing our age because mine was Pac-Man.
Wow. Waka Waka.
It's a classic.
My bedroom when I was 4 years old was painted in Pac-Man. Dots all over the place.
Cool.
I got a picture I could show you.
I want to see.
My head was this size at 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Pac-Man. I had Pac-Man fever.
Interesting.
That's how old I am.
See, it's funny because you say that, and I'm like, how could you be that into a game without a story?
It was more about the idea of being in an entertainment medium where I was having ownership of something. I was moving the character, making him do something.
I understand.
As a kid, that just blew my mind, and I had Pac-Man lunchboxes, I had everything. I had a Pac-Man board game that I would give anything to still have today. Definitely had Pac-Man fever. What about you guys?
For me, it was the original Tomb Raider on PS1. That's what my uncle played it on, because I used to go to his house every day during the summer. He'd babysit me while my parents worked, and he was playing Tomb Raider one day. I'm like, what's that? So he told me it's a game called Tomb Raider. I was just intrigued because there's a woman doing backflips and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, you want to play it? I'm like, yeah, of course. That was like the first game I played. I sucked at it, but I just kept wanting to play, and my parents bought me a PS1. They bought me a copy of Tomb Raider so I could finish the whole thing. They did help me. I was like 4 or 5. But I just fell in love, and I played it over and over and over again. And I still love Tomb Raider to this day.
Nice. It's a cool story. Zach?
I'm something of a Tomb Raider fan myself. I understand. Made me a gamer. I mean, I always remember playing video games, right? And my grandpa was a huge gamer as well. So that was a big part of it. He did the thing that, I'm definitely going to make my kids do, where he made us play through the Atari before we could get the NES.
Right.
And stuff like that, which is infinite respect and thanks to that man for doing that, because it made me really care about video game history. So the first game I remember like truly loving was Outlaw, because it made you feel like a cowboy.
Yeah.
And then
there's no story in that game though, man.
Yeah, but then the game I first remember like loving, where like I couldn't stop thinking about it, was Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first game I remember beating, which did have a story. Scott.
Yes, it did.
But then the first game where I was like I want to do, where it activated in me, where like my life will be about video games. Like I'll write a game or write about them or something, was Ocarina of Time.
There you go.
And and I could tell you the exact moment was when I used a grappling hook on a wooden fence and it worked.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that a couple weeks ago.
That's the moment where video games clicked for me, where I'm like, oh, anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they can think of anything. And the fact that, like I was aware human beings made these things, like someone thought it through. They're like, oh yeah, the grappling hook, it would only make sense that it would connect to this piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually program it. I was like, okay, video games are the premier medium, clearly.
Nice. Next question comes from Daniel Gilmore. What moment in a video game made you the most emotional? We actually did an entire episode on this one, Daniel. I'd recommend going back and looking that one up. But what game made you the most emotional? Zach?
Nier.
Yeah?
Easily Nier. I definitely don't want to say the moment just because so many people are going to be playing it for the first time so soon. But it was Emil's transformation. Had me crying like a little boy, like a little man.
All right. I guess I'll have to wait and see what that means.
Right. Then the game just kind of keeps hitting you over and over again with emotional moments. It doesn't kind of let up after that.
Gonna have to play it.
Yeah, you will. Absolutely.
Alyssa, what about you?
I don't really get emotional during video games, which is weird because with movies and books and TV shows, I will cry like a baby at a sad scene. Video games, no. But I did play a game for the Gaming Outsider, and it was when the past was around. And that game did bring tears to my eyes. They didn't come down, but they were there. I'm like, wow, this game. And I can't say what happens without spoiling it. You have to play it for yourself. But it's just about this couple that are trying to fight for their relationship during this really troubling time.
All right.
That doesn't sound like a good time.
It's actually very charming.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Mine's a weird one. Like you guys both had games that were like meant to be emotional, but the first time I finished BioShock Infinite, which I know we have disagreements about the quality of the ending of the story of that game, Zach, but there was something about just the way that the whole credit sequence started and finished to me that I just got emotional. Like first off, I had this weird sense of completion for finishing a game. Not that the game was overly difficult or anything. I just felt very satisfied that I finished that game. And the music, I don't know if you guys remember, but during the credits of BioShock Infinite, they have the two voice actors, sitting with an acoustic guitar that played Booker and Elizabeth, singing "May the Circle Be Unbroken." They're like practicing it. And I don't know why, but that whole thing just got me choked up. It was so beautiful. Like these voices of these two characters that I've grown to love over the past 12 to 16 hours, however long that game was. And I was obsessed with the BioShock series at the time anyway. And then just see them in the flesh almost, and hearing them sing this song, and the harmonies were beautiful. And then just moments where they would stop and like comment on each other and oh, this is how we should be doing this. This is how we should be doing this. And I think Ken Levine comes in and says, "You guys are so good. You're singing it too good. We need you to be a little bit more natural, like, whatever." So like where the director comes in and says to stop singing it perfect. I don't know. There's just the whole thing. I sat there and just stared at the screen, and I never do that. Normally when the credits are rolling, I'm grabbing my phone, looking something up, or taking a picture and posting, "Hey, I beat this game. Here's the credits." I sat there and I was enraptured watching everything that happened in that line of dialogue and just recounting the story. This is how invested in that story I was, Zach. I finished that game, and after the final credits rolled, I texted a friend of mine and said, "Oh my God, I just played this game. I beat it over the weekend or whatever. The story was amazing." She's like, "Well, what was it about?" I started from the beginning of the story in text. I texted her a synopsis of the entire story of BioShock Infinite. And I was getting goosebumps, like just even typing it out to her. And she was like, "Wow, that sounds like an amazing I don't know." So I got emotional about BioShock Infinite, which is a weird story. But
well, let me just real quick, for the 19th time in the show, tell you, I really like the ending of BioShock Infinite.
I did too.
So much of the stuff leading up to it I thought was mediocre.
okay.
Like the ending is great. I know you're going to forget this next time we talk about the game.
Yeah, I know. I forget about it every time.
But it's
He
especially...
just blocks it out.
The shooting is quite poor, in my opinion. And there's so much of it.
There was a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Way more combat than the first BioShock.
And the second, yeah, we could talk about BioShock for forever, but man, just everything about that game just resonated with me, except for that one boss fight, that stupid siren.
Yeah,
anyway.
everyone hates that thing.
Do I have to read this next question?
What, Kevin Honigford, your most useless talent makes you a superhero. What is your power? Is that a weird? That's a weird question.
No, that's not okay. I see what you did, Kevin
I'm trying to help you out.
My most useless talent. Useless talent.
I'll tell you mine. Latte art.
Latte art. Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, I can make really good latte art even. Completely useless. And I do it for myself because otherwise I might steam my eyeballs out. So
I don't know how it works. Is it?
No, I'm talking about steam my eyeballs because I've been a freaking barista for 8 years and I'm gonna lose it. So I had to learn to do latte art because I had to have a new challenge or else I was gonna start breaking things.
So do you ever like give somebody a cup of coffee with like latte art in it and they just go, "Oh, that's really cool," or do they notice? Sure.
A lot of people apologize for it. Like, "I'm so sorry, I have to cover it up." I'm like, I understand. I understand what happens to a latte when I hand it off, ma'am.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you have a useless talent, Alyssa?
I don't have many talents, but I remember the casts of movies I watch, and I remember details about celebrities, so if anyone ever needed information, just come up to me and be like, "Hey, who did Keanu Reeves date in the past?"
There you go.
So you read a lot of People magazine, is what you're saying?
I've read those magazines since I was 10. My mom got me hooked, and I don't think I've missed an issue on purpose since.
Wow.
So
You are IMDb.
yes.
Nice.
How's Ben Affleck doing right now? Is he doing good?
He's filming a new movie right now. I mean, him and Ana de Armas broke up a while ago.
I know.
I was sad, and everyone's like, Banana broke up, which I'm like, haha. But I like them as a couple. But he is filming a new movie that George Clooney is directing.
Oh, that's a real powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I love Ben.
See, it's useless.
Ben
No,
Affleck,
but it's interesting.
Ben Affleck is on the background of my computer right now.
Chris Owens from our team has a similar talent. You can give him any movie, and within half a second, he will tell you what year it came out.
I'm not that good.
It's weird. I'll be like, dude, what year is this movie? And then he'll just be like, 1987 or whatever, and I'll like IMDb it on the spot, and he's 95% of the time right. It's really weird. Not all the time. Sometimes he's a year off, but that's I wish I had that talent. I don't.
I can do that with video games beginning in the 3D era.
Can you?
Pretty well.
Yeah. I don't do well with years. I never did, even when I was a kid.
I don't either.
History was not a thing for me. I don't know, useless talent. I can make my eyes shake back and forth really fast.
What?
Great.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if does that show up?
Plays well at radio.
Yeah, I know, but that's a talent that I've had since I was a kid. I don't know why I've been able to do that, but I can make my eyes vibrate very, very quickly. And yeah, so that's my superpower apparently. So thanks, Kevin. 2 more. Drew Ross, with more video game movies and TV series on the way, what video game or game series would you like to see as a movie, and which would you like to see turned into a TV series? I feel like we've answered this one before. My answer for TV series is 100% Fallout. I would love to see a Fallout TV series. You could go anywhere in the Fallout universe for a TV series.
I mean, that's a good one.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know what other TV series. I mean, we're getting a Last of Us, so
right. I don't often think about like, oh man. I more often watch a movie and think, boy, I wish this was a video game.
right.
For sure. But I mean, an Advent Rising movie would be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I got a weird soft spot for that. I think a Final Fantasy TV show could be really cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
It had to be like its own story, just standalone story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. They could get really meta with it and call it Final Fantasy 17.
Oh man, that would make so many people angry.
I have to watch a show to understand what's going on with the whole game series? No.
Great.
Well, they kind of did that with 15. Remember the
Kingsglaive movie, which was, I love that movie.
It was really good.
Yeah, When Advent Children is great movie as well, but I'm talking like a live action, fantasy series.
Right.
You could really get into the crystals and all that. I think it could be pretty cool.
I agree. Movies, I don't know. I mean,
I always said Dead Space, but I mean, if you think about it, there's been a lot of like horror movies set in space.
Yeah, Dead Space already kind of sort of feels like Alien already, a little bit.
It does, yeah.
I think if you lean into the necromorphs, you could make a pretty cool movie.
And lean into the religious aspect. I mean, that's kind of been done a lot, but man, that was just so cool. Not knowing that going into that first game.
What about a Splinter Cell movie?
I know you'd be all about that.
As long as you get the right guy for Sam Fisher. Oh, I know Tom Hardy is supposed to be Sam Fisher, but will that movie ever get made? The answer is probably no.
Probably no. I think Assassin's Creed could have been done right.
I never saw it.
I didn't watch it either.
I own it.
They made the Animus like a thing that's holding him, and that just drove me crazy.
The premise is just, you could sell it to an audience as like it's the Matrix, but it takes you to the past.
Right.
It's not a hard concept to sell, so I don't know why they overdid it like that.
I don't either.
I think Mass Effect would be a good TV show because there are so many different alien species, different planets that you could just have this whole sci-fi epic as a TV show.
Yeah, that'd be smart. Even
Horizon Zero Dawn.
That'd be cool.
That'd probably make a better movie or TV. I think that would make like a good trilogy of movies.
Yeah, you would need the budget of a movie to really pull off the robot dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably like it more.
Probably.
My problem with Horizon was that the combat sucked and was too long.
I like the combat.
I know.
I did too.
Guys,
It was
look,
tough.
I said it, therefore it is my opinion. I just want you to know that.
I know. Last question comes from Fightin' Irish Ninja. Bungie has said that they are making a Destiny TV series, so do you think this show can have success, or will it become a failure? Is the story of Destiny really what drives people? I don't play it, so I don't know, but I feel like that's more about the gameplay, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it going to be a whole TV show where a character presses a button, but then the elevator comes down too slowly, so the characters have to beat 150 bad guys while checking all of their corpses for new loot? And then they go back to the button, it's still not down, so then Peter Dinklage says something sassy? Is that the show?
I mean, would it be Peter Dinklage, though? Because they replaced him with Nolan North.
Well, for the show, you gotta go back and get Peter Dinklage.
That's true.
That wizard came from the moon.
That line would have to be the first trailer, or else it's bust.
See, and I played that point when it was still Peter Dinklage at that point, and I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't feel like the line was as bad as everybody made it out to be. I didn't think it was either. Was like glaringly terrible. I've heard a lot worse dialogue in games than Peter Dinklage.
I thought he was fine.
Thank you.
It was quite clear it was Peter Dinklage, but that's why you pay him.
Yeah, you want that recognition. I was really excited to like that game, and I
was too. I actually really liked the demo of it, but then when I played the full game, I was like, I'm replaying the demo again, and I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to.
Well, the way Zack just described it is literally how that game works.
It is, yeah.
Over and over and over again. But they apparently recognize it, right? Like, Destiny 2 is supposed to be much better in that regard. So it blows my mind that games like Anthem and Avengers still made their looter shooters like that, where you press the button and then kill waves of enemies. Unbelievable.
I mean, I did like Horde mode in Gears.
Yeah, but that was with friends and stuff, and
so is Destiny.
And you knew what you were signing up for. It wasn't you went on a quest and then, this epic grand. They make it sound cool, but then you just like go press a button.
Yeah, it's true.
But I know you had to have the app to read the story of of Destiny, but I did like it.
Did you? I don't know anything about it.
I don't either.
The Guardians of Light fighting back against the darkness and space. It appealed to your Green Lantern boy in that way.
Okay, there you go.
And I had never played Destiny 2, but I've heard it went harder on this actual story. It was just weird that they did the thing where it's like, you would complete the quest, but then you'd be like, oh, a new Grimoire card unlocked in your Bungie app. And I'm like, well, that's not... Why wouldn't you tell me the story here?
Right.
That's weird.
Because dollars.
I guess. Very, very strange. But I think you hit the nail on the head with the Fallout show.
Yeah, I would watch that in a heartbeat. We talked about that back in the Hollywood Outsider days.
That aesthetic would work for an HBO drama.
For real, yeah.
Like a prestige format.
I'm shocked it hasn't happened already.
I could have swore there were murmurs that like Amazon was going to do something, right?
There's always murmurs.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The opening to Fallout 3, the first time I played it, before there's like a good 2 hours that you can spend inside the vault. If you really want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would be like a whole first couple episodes. And then just go from there.
No, come on. You end your pilot with getting out of the vault. With the screen going bright because the vault door moves. Your eyes are adjusting and roll the credits.
You're like, I can't see anything.
That's your episode 1, man.
Yeah.
Get Liam Neeson as the dad.
Seriously, I think that... Didn't we do that episode with Aaron on the Hollywood Outsider a while back on a TV movie? And I think I had a whole... I want to go back and listen to it because I actually had like a whole idea pitched out that I thought was really good. I have to go back and check that out because I wanted that show for sure. I kind of want to go back and play Fallout 3 again.
Yeah, I've had a weird itch to play Fallout New Vegas for the first time.
That one is on Game Pass, so maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll scratch my Fallout. Although Fallout Vegas was a lot harder at the beginning than Fallout 3 was.
I watched a 2-hour YouTube video essay that explained how similar it was to Fallout 1 and 2, which I do love a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, maybe New Vegas is Fallout for me.
Oh, there you go.
I like Fallout 3 a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Maybe we could do an episode on Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, that'd be both our first time as well.
Yeah, well, we got to do something before both of us finish New Vegas. But anyway, thank you so much for all the comments, everybody. We really appreciate that. Alyssa, thanks for being here to answer those questions with us. Next week's topic is yet to be determined, so stay tuned to our social media outlets to see what question is going to be out there. Alyssa, as always, it is a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for being here as our special guest once again.
Thank you for having me here. I always have a blast.
So for everybody out there that wants to have you on their podcast, where you said earlier you're more than willing to come on any and all podcasts, where can they get a hold of you, or where can they find you online to do that?
I do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/AlyssaWhite88, but the best place if you want to reach me is either DM me on Instagram at It's Alyssa White, or my review site, Alleycat Geekery Reviews, which is ALYCATGEEKERY Reviews on Instagram, either of those, or Twitter at Lissarie, LYSSARIE. Those are the best places to contact me if you want me to be on your podcast, but I will definitely do it.
Awesome. And also be sure to check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. Alyssa is one of our contributing writers, and she does fantastic work over there. Really great to talk with you once again, Alyssa. Thanks so much for being here. Zack, any parting words before we get out of here?
That Invincible animated series on Amazon gets good.
I watched the first episode.
I was a little disappointed with the first episode because I'm a huge...
The ending, though. Oh my god.
For sure.
No spoilers.
I'm a huge fan of the comic. It's definitely one of my favorite comics ever. But the tone was all off for me as a comic reader for the show. That first episode, but now I'm kind of like getting to the groove of the show, and it just takes itself a little bit more seriously than Invincible, the comic, does, which is almost like it's a satire of superhero comics at times.
Uh-huh.
And I think the show just leans a little bit more seriously. But now that I'm kind of getting into the rhythms of it, and I'm appreciating the changes they're making, I thought episode 3 was great.
All right, I have Amazon Prime, so maybe I'll check that out. I still haven't watched The Boys though.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, season 2 of The Boys is special television.
I need to watch that. Maybe I'll start that tonight.
I think you'd dig it.
I think I would too. Keep getting recommended. Now that I finished How I Met Your Mother, I got to start something.
Right, now that you finally got that out of the way.
Yeah, my wife is so happy that I'm done with that because she's tired of hearing the theme song. Because I don't skip the theme song on that one.
I've never skipped any intro ever.
I don't understand that. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Just want to remind you that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music that you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. Thanks so much for being here. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, when we have CB back with us, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.